Nigga, please. How come I didn't get a chance to vote on who I'd like to be? Who gave you the right to make that decision for me? I ain't under your rule. Nigga, please. How come I didn't get a chance to vote on who I'd like to be? Who gave you the right to make that decision for me? I ain't under your rule or in your dominion, and I'm entitled to my own opinion. Now, there are some African Americans here, but they recently moved here from places like Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. But not a brother whose families lived in this country for generations, occupying space in all the locations: New York, Miami, LA, Detroit, Chicago, even if he's wearing a dashiki and sporting an afro. And if you go to Africa in search of your race, you'll find out quick you're not an African American. You're just a Black American in Africa, taking up space. Why you keep trying to attach yourself to a continent where even if you got the chance to go and you went, most people there wouldn't even claim you as one of them, as a purebred daughter or son of them. Your heritage is right here now, no matter what you call yourself or what you say. And a lot of people died to make it that way. And if you think America's a leader on inequality and suffering and grieving, how come there's so many people coming and so few leaving? Rather than all this fine fault with America stuff you promoting, if you want to change something, use your privilege. Get to the polls. Come and support. All the wonderful Black Americans who served in the armed forces and gave their lives in all the wars, they didn't do that for Timbuktu or Cape Town or Kenya. They died for Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana and Texas and Virginia. Need I continue? And if you don't acknowledge that, if you don't claim that, then you're playing right into the hand of the white supremacists and the Ku Klux Klan, who claim that they own this land. We went through the civil rights movement, and Dr. Martin Luther King gave his life so that you might have equal status. We withstood the dogs, the fire hoses, the beatings, the bombings, the burnings, the maimings, the murders, and everything else they threw at us. God knows we've earned the right to be called American Americans and be free at last. And rather than you moving forward progress, you dwelling in the past. We've struggled too long. We've come too far. Instead of focusing on who we were, let's be proud of who we are. We're the only people whose name is always a trend. When's this stuff gonna end? Look at all the different colors of our skin. Black is not our color, it's our core. It's what we've been living and fighting and dying for. But if you choose to be called African American, and that's your preference, then I'll give you that reference. But I know on this issue I don't stand alone on my own. And if I do, then let me be me. And I'd appreciate it if when you see me, you'd say, there goes a man who said it loud. I'm black, I'm black. I'm a Black American, and I'm proud. Because I love being an American, and I love being black. I love being called black. Yeah, I said it, and I don't take it back.
We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 86 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the #2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being #2, you're going to go down and become #4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education will tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were #2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become #4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm This is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountain. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the east coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you those Black Negro descendants on topic there, making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our hope, socializing our suffering. How y'all doing, family? Yes. I see you, Ivy Dreams, Root Trackers by Yaira, Carolyn Quinn. I want to thank you guys for arriving to class early. Because early is a new on time. Early is a new on time. Uh-oh, where did I go? Hold on, y'all. Talking crap, talking smack. But early is a new on time. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to today's classroom. It's going to be rich. It's going to be epic. We've got the incomparable Arthur Ward. I see he's made it into the lobby. We're going to bring him up momentarily. I just want to shout out Racebook, shout out X. If you want to be a part of the co-host in the chat, you have to come to ScrewTube to be a part of my co-host. I am sure it's going to be lit today. Happy Black American History Month, everyone. I have been up on the ropes fighting everyone over delineation. Folks don't understand. Well, I think they understand, but they're feigning ignorance as to why I'm calling out the fact that a white American woman and a Kenyan man can't birth a Black American. Okay? They getting upset with me. I think I got about, maybe close to 80,000 views on the very controversial topic of delineation. I wrote one. I said, a woman of East Indian Brahmin caste can't, and a man of Irish, Hindu, Jamaican descent cannot birth a Black American Negro. It's not possible. Okay, so that's what we've got to talk about. I said over in X that until there is a descendant of the emancipated or a freed Negro before 1870, you know, we came together, right? The free Negroes and the free Negroes, how we all came under one umbrella called the Negro after emancipation. Until we get one of those as the leader of the free world, as the VP of the free world, we have not had a Black American first. We've not. So yes, my posts have been causing all kinds of trolls coming into my space and trying to put me on the ropes. But you know, I tell them in advance, you're going to be blocked if you come up in here talking this foolishness. They want to detract. They want to say he's the real African American. Okay, this is what happens when Jesse Jackson gets in bed with politics to name us African American. Now they're telling me Elon Musk is African American. And Barack Obama is the only real African American. All this kind of nonsense when I'm on a mission, right, as we all are, to take back all of our identifiers. You don't get to be African American in this country. We might have to let that one go altogether, child. And they want to talk about skin tone. They want to reduce our whole entire lineage to skin tone in this country. And so they got me on the ropes, but I'm here to fight for what Tyreek refers to as foundational Black American, Yvette refers to as ADOS, which we were once a part of, and I refer as the Negro descendants under banned. Black American Negro descendants. Shout out to Unity for Our Community and Sun Powell, Don Page, Concerned Black American Citizens, CAP, Capital Accountability Project. Shout out to y'all for helping us to understand. And Arthur will tell you today, I'm going to bring him up so he can tell you. He comes from free and freed Negroes. So no, we're not leaving out the free. You know, I don't know. This ain't about reparations. This is about delineation. So that we can get these tethers off of our 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, akin to what Trump is attempting to do. Let me bring up Arthur so we can get into it, y'all. Welcome to the live. Stand by. Let me bring up A-Dub because I know he's got some things to say. Hold on. Let me make you as even, as equal as me. Hey, Dub.
How you doing? Miss Nirvana.
You know, I've been on the ropes. I'm just grateful to strong Negro men like yourself, who's always there when a sister calls, help, help. They got me on the rope. I'm out here, look, I'm out here starting trouble. Then I want to cry help to our Negro men. Help, help. It gets to be too much for your sister, honey.
Right now, you know, Nirvana, you don't have to scream. You don't have to call too loud. All you got to do is start putting on your little lip gloss and motherfuckers is getting up left and right and shit. So anyway.
Thank you, A-Dub. I'm just so aggravated with the things I've been seeing out here and how these demon rats have the lineage stuck on stupid, trying to make everything Trump does racist towards blacks, when in all honesty, I believe, now maybe you agree, you see it different. I think he's doing our delineation for us.
He is. And what he's doing, he's normalizing the country. Also, you know, with your opening statements, and I do want this to be made clear, and I made this clear in not the blog post that I have up now, but the one that I have up previously, to understand the difference between delineating words, or the way that you define yourself ethnically, you know, which we have a variety according to one's personal taste. We have Negro, we have American descendants of slavery, we have foundational Black Americans, which is what I use. That is what we use to ethnically delineate ourselves on paper and in a society, as opposed to a legal term, which is freedmen. So I want people to understand the difference and the clarity of, you know, get clear about the usage of this. Freedman is not something that you really identify yourself with in society. It's not, it has the same kind of legal and legislative usage as plaintiff,
Yes.
or, you know, litigant.
It's a status.
It's a status word, but it's also a legal word, you know, that establishes a particular status for a particular injured group of citizens. That's what it's for. Okay, so I want people to be clear about it, because I hear somebody say, I don't want to be called no free. That's not what that's for.
Right.
Okay, it's this when you're talking like that, that's like when you go to the courthouse to file a lawsuit against an entity or a person, and then you tell the court, "I don't want to be known as no plaintiff." Well, that's what you are to the court. That's your interface to the court, and so I just want to make that clear.
Well, I thank you for the
Yeah,
clarification.
yeah.
But what do you say concerning those of us who were free? They're not freed men. So they would not be classified as freed men unless they descend from slavery. Is that correct?
Exactly. Because
Okay.
there's a particular recognized injury and deprivation associated with this particular group of people. But this particular group of people, we're not talking about race. We're talking
Right.
about injury and deprivation. But it just happenstantially happens to be this particular group of people that happen to be Black
Absolutely.
or Negro
Absolutely.
or whatever you
Okay.
want to. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Well, let's talk a little bit about, and just a little bit, I want you to touch on the fact that you've got, if my understanding from our conversations, you have traced your lineage, and some of your ancestors were free and some of them were enslaved. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I got two lines of lineage here. On my mother's side of the family was enslaved in Alabama. Okay. And because of the fact that some of my earlier relatives were rebellious, they were sold upriver and eventually ended up in Missouri. My father's side of lineage had never been to the South. They were shipped over here from what is now Sierra Leone to what was then New Amsterdam, which we know as New York City. And then they were further sold to another slave owner, which took them to the Central Illinois Territory.
Okay.
Okay. So my father's side of the family never was in the South. And as a matter of fact, I still have a whole lot of people on my father's side of the family that still live in the St. Louis, Alton, Illinois area. And Alton, Illinois is located 20 miles from the plantation that my ancestors were enslaved on
Okay.
in
So,
central Illinois.
right. And so, to your point,
Yeah.
slavery was not just a Southern thing.
No, it wasn't. Matter of fact, just recently in the past 2-3 years, there have been books written talking about slavery in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
Absolutely. This
Okay.
is, but it was also in New York.
Yes. Well, actually, you got to remember too that these more northern cities like New York, Philadelphia, Boston were really mostly the initial places that we were brought to. A lot of your slave traders, settlers
Right.
were located in Boston, Philadelphia, and New York. And in New York, as you know, that's how Wall Street began because that was a slave market. We were the original stocks.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
sir, Arthur Ward. Thank you. That's what I need our people. Some are new to the reparationist perspective, are just now learning what we're over here fighting for, what we're here setting up the alley-oop for.
Right.
Lots of people are very confused when I fight for delineation. We are all fighting, but I get a lot of traction when I post what they consider to be very controversial. So I understand that everything is political.
Everything.
Everything. So I'm trying to relate
It has
that.
to be.
Huh?
Everything. It has to be political. It has to be political because what is the purpose of politics? Politics is in place for three things: to make sure that your particular group gets resources, security, and quality living space. Those three things. If your representatives are not delivering those things, then you need to get rid of them. Delineation is old for everybody except us. We're new to the game. And I do say that I'm really glad that we are slowly waking up to what we need to be doing as a group, because just quite frankly, because of our fraught situation, we have not been serious about our politics. And politics is basically survival. Politics is whether or not you're enslaved. Politics decides where your children go to school and the quality of education that they receive. Politics decides where you'll be buried. All of those things are politics. And if you notice, if you really look into your history, every single thing that changed about our existence in this country was done through politics.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's all the way down to delineation and the
Yes.
necessity for it.
Yes.
Because what I've been trying to help my viewers understand is that we thought, our ancestors rather, thought that fighting for immigration, of melanated persuasion, was going to be an asset and a benefit to us. We thought that they would align forces with us to help us procure everything that we were due.
Right.
And now we're finding that they've become a part of the, what I call affectionately, the Congressional Black Caucuses. They dominate. And all you hear them fighting for is immigration.
Right.
And this is why it's important not to vote the couch. If you
Yes.
don't want, if you listen, this is how these people get elected, because they're showing up to the polls and voting for their immigrant representatives to get in there and fight for the entitlements that are owed to us.
Yes. Unfortunately for Black people, and this was the mistake that we made going from the 50s and really on up till now. I think that we're still what I call color struck. Black people, Black Americans have always been Pan-African, okay? And Pan-African, yeah, that's a problem. We're waking up to what a problem it is, because what we fail to understand, even within the Black diaspora, is that racism impacts different groups differently. Okay, the racism that may be displayed from a white person to an Asian is totally different from the kind of racism that we receive. And the racism that we receive is totally different from the racism that might be received from a African or Caribbean immigrant.
Yes, it is.
Okay, because of what we went through in this country and what white people perceive us as, we are always going to get the heaviest brunt of racism, no matter what. And that's one of the main reasons why we have to delineate, because our issues are unique to our particular group. And so therefore we have to have a set of different approaches to deal with the things that affect only us. We are, I would say that amongst all of the ethnic groups in the world, we are simultaneously the most unique and the most powerful. And because of the fact that the white power structure recognizes all of this potential power that is within the American Black community, from their perception, in order for them to survive, they have to keep us contained in a whole lot of different ways, all the way from wealth, all the way from education, and so forth. Because the thing that scares white people is that we were still able to produce brilliance even within our contained situation.
Oh, yes.
And everything that we've done has reached into the entire world. I'll give you an example. Every day, every person in the world is affected by what African Americans have invented. George Washington Carver. Every single tire in the world comes from George Washington Carver. Every single tire. How many places in the world have traffic lights? That came from us. Years ago, when I went to Japan and we decided to go out for the night, We over in the Genza. We was going nightclubbing. When we was walking down in the streets, we didn't hear no Japanese music coming out them nightclubs. We heard blues, R&B, and jazz. That's what we heard. And there's a whole lot of Japanese jazz musicians in Japan that revere particular black jazz masters. They don't revere the white ones, just the black ones.
Because it's all from us.
Because it's all from us.
We are the culture.
Now, we are the culture. We would not have made it. I don't know how many of you guys saw Hidden Figures, but hey, them white people would not have made it to the moon if it wasn't for literally, if it wasn't for these niggas. Okay? So you got to understand the fear that white people have towards us. That's why anytime that we're doing something that makes sense as far as like us improving our position as a group, they have to put in wrenches. They have to throw wrenches in there, either by them or by their hired help by FBA coons or by some black immigrant that they can use to destroy us from inside. But these are the things that we need to be aware of, and we have to start moving a lot smarter. Marching and outside protesting, that shit is over. We have to do a whole lot of internal things to get ourselves together at this point.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We especially need to run for office and unseat these immigrants.
Yes.
To have all this power. Let's get into some of the slides I want to present today.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because, no, you don't ever have to apologize. I'm just concerned that it's you're 3 hours ahead, and I want to get you to weigh in on some of these slides that I want to show. Okay. So let me stand by. Let me share my screen. Just a side note, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, especially like the video so that it can increase on the algorithms. I think that's what they call it. It increases the algorithms, which means more people can get exposed to the fact that I'm over here live. As you all know, I'm being shadow banned. My channel has been demonetized. So please support the channel. Shout out to those of you who supported the channel last week. You pretty much sponsored last Sunday's broadcast, and I will call your names towards the latter part of the broadcast. Thank you so much. It's in the description bar below, those who paid for last Sunday's broadcast. For those of you who are asking, where is the survey so that you can mark 3020 band and 3025 American Negro? Those surveys are not out yet. If you want to be able to help us in our efforts to get 2 million to implore upon the ACS survey to give us our delineation, please Gmail me at thereperspect@gmail.com. It's scrolling in the bar below and it's in the description. Stand by. Let me share my first video. Just a second. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Well, this is not the video yet, but this is the Black Caucus chair is accusing. Let me make sure you guys can see this. I can't see you. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. So basically, let me go back. The Black Caucus chair accuses Trump of purge of minority federal workers. Now, my take on this, and you can share what your take is. First of all, this woman is an immigrant.
Yes.
Her name is Yvette Clark.
Yes.
And here she is accusing Trump of purging of minority federal workers. Now, her concern is not about us. As the chair of the Black Caucus, which is comprised of many different nationalities, right? And the Negroes that are in there, they aren't fighting for us. They're fighting pretty much to hold on to their districts, which have by and large become heavily populated with immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And so here you have her accusing Trump of purging of minority federal workers. Well, I want to give my take and then I want your take. The way I see what Trump is doing is trying to get rid of the wasteful spending.
Yes.
There are quite a few people that work federally and for the state and for the county who have been remote. And they've been working from home and not really producing.
Right.
And so what I see Trump is doing, see, this is the gaslighting and the propaganda from the immigrant-run caucus to try to make Trump our enemy. Now, I believe that both parties suck concerning the Black American Negro descendant, okay? Both parties suck. I'm not a fan of either. But I do recognize that our people in particular have gotten us caught up in a perpetual cycle of lesser of two evil voting, which brings us to a time such as now. And Trump is far better than the Rhino Repugnant Clan and what we just unseated Kamala, who is for immigrants. I believe had she won, it would have ushered in our extinction.
Right.
She would have made, because they're lying about the numbers that they've allowed into the country. I believe, like Trump, that it's closer to 20 to 25 million. They're still saying that no, it's only about 11 million. It's neither here nor there. The bottom line is they wanted that black vote in order to secure citizenship for the 50 plus million DACA and 25 million illegals, which would have totally wiped us out with respect to being the swing vote, because that's truly what the demon rat is after. Even if it means using our reparations, taxes, and Social Security to guarantee them an American way of life while denying us and saying no to reparations. In conclusion, so I want you to weigh in. What I see Trump doing is trimming the fat. And if you're not working, get the hell on.
Yeah, I think he's doing exactly that, and it has nothing to do with race, because it's not just black people being laid down; it's a bunch of white people too. Mostly white women. That's why I don't know if you've seen some of these YouTubes that are being put out by white women, but it's a whole lot of white women that's been laid off from the federal government via Trump. So for this woman to get up there and try to turn to a racial thing is absolutely disingenuous. And
this is what they do. There's another part to this that I want my viewers to understand. When you've got this thing is a big old circle. Not only are they wasting money on people who are not really working from home, they're doing everything but, and that can be shown in the data, but these buildings are left empty, but the mortgage has still got to be paid.
Right.
When these workers are continuously working from home, what happens is those businesses that surround these federal buildings where people would go and get their lunches and their dinners, these business people will go out of business. They can't afford to stay in business if the workforce is working from home and ordering everything on Amazon.
That's right. That's right.
So it's twofold. It's not just about getting rid of purging, a whole purge of minority workers. This is how disingenuous these people are on the demon rat side. They want you to get yourself all up in a lather. And I want you guys to buckle up, because they are prepared to do this for the next 4 years. Freak you out about everything that Trump is doing when he's trying to get a control of the budget. We are trillions of dollars in debt behind proxy wars and immigrants. And so
and foreign aid.
And who?
Foreign aid.
And foreign aid. while the Negro suffers the highest rates of unemployment, underemployment, and evictions.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to get that this is the type of gaslighting you're going to be hearing from these demon rats.
Right.
On a regular basis. Just brace for it, okay? So I'm not going to go into that because we got so many other slides to do. Yeah. Let me stop that one. Let me go into the next one. Stand by. You can weigh in if you have anything to contribute.
No, and right now, real estate investment trust for office buildings, the values are starting to go back up again because of this move by Trump. So you're absolutely right about that dynamic. But there's a lot going on. Do you know in Chicago, we got these damn Venezuelans out there downtown burning American flags and got their flags up. Mexicans and Venezuelans got their flags, waving their flags while they're burning the American flag, talking about how unfair Donald Trump is to them in terms of the deportations going on.
It is unconscionable. They got the same thing with all these Mexicans out here. I want to call it California City, marching and protesting against Trump. Yeah. And I got to find the video where the Mexican woman is talking about why they voted for Trump, especially out here in California, where Newsom is giving them free medical.
Yeah.
A family of 4 out here, the medical costs you around $1,300. They're giving them, he wanted to give them $150,000 down payment assistance exclusively.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. Giving them food stamps when our people can't qualify. If you make $1 over the poverty line, you get denied EBT and cash aid out here. You got to be broke. And if you broke, you eating out of trash cans anyway. So this whole Mexican woman was talking about these things and how injurious the illegals are and how they had to fight to get their legal citizenship, and they voted for Trump to protect that. But who are they blaming?
Us.
They're blaming black folks when 92% black women and 77% of black men voted for the demon rats. And I know that many stayed home, voted the couch. I don't agree with that because now you get people like Yvette Clarke running your local politics.
Yep.
This is a problem.
It's a big problem. You know, now I don't know where this lady was from, but I will tell you that in Chicago, we have a lot of Hispanics that are citizens that are just as hyped about getting the illegals out as we are.
Yes.
I got a couple of neighbors and they're Mexican. They cool, you know, they always speak. I walk by, they speak. And sometimes they have, because the guy, he fixes cars in the alley. And, hey, what, you want a beer? I said, yeah, give me a beer, man. What's up? And he's pissed. He said he voted for Trump, and he said he wants all them motherfuckers out of here. He said he told me it took him 6 years to get his green card. He had a work permit. It took him 6 years to get his green card. And then once he got his green card, it took him another 2 years to get citizenship. He said, so why should these people come in and jump the line? That's his attitude. Yeah, that's his attitude.
Well, that was this sister's attitude too, this Hispanic woman. Okay. And she says it so well. Hold on 1 second. I got to let my daughter know. Stop calling. I'm live now. You can't have a conversation. But I want to find that video and show it to y'all. But let me cue up the next one so that we can keep it moving while I search for her. It's just unconscionable how we get blamed for everything, and yet their own people voted Trump for the very same reasons. They're trying to protect their American citizenship, but we're not allowed to.
They're trying to get wine advice over here in your chat.
Oh, go ahead and give us the wine advice. Go ahead. Go ahead, do you. We family over here. Let them know what the wine advice is.
Okay, well, the last one, the one that I wrote, that I used when I wrote my last post, that was $150. So I'm not going to tell you that one. But this one is really good. The Louis M. Martini Monterosso Vineyard Gnarly Vine Zinfandel 2018. It's a 4.4 pointer, and it's only like $22, and it's really worth the money.
I love it. They're showing you a lot of love in the chat.
Yes, thank you. As I
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Arthur.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Oh, no. Yeah, I saw this.
Yes. Well, you listen, we got to make stuff go viral.
Yeah.
Now, this is a group of Caribbean tethers upset with the FBAs because we are delineating and recognizing our unique lineage. This is a whole mess, family. Listen to this, and we're going to talk about it.
So first, let's talk about what foundational Black Americans are. So the term refers to a concept coined by activist and filmmaker Tariq Nasheed. It's used to describe Black individuals in the United States who are descendants of African people enslaved in the U.S. prior to the abolition of slavery in 1865. Here we go. I want to start off with you, Shelley.
My never to be humble opinion is that this movement is a way to further segregate and divide Black people, give me a second, and have these FBAs use this one as a good separation technique or a good segregation technique. Now, let me say this. I don't give a damn who you associate with, who you want to be called, or what group. I don't really care. But I think this particular issue is a way for, I'm going to say, maybe more conservatives to use as, oh, I'm separating myself because I am a slave or have ancestors that were slaves or whatever. I don't care. Ultimately, I am a foundational Black American. I was born here.
Okay.
Oh, what a dummy. Now, you know what? Let me give you some clarity. Now, this lady, the darker skinned lady, she is a child of Black immigrants. The lighter skinned lady, the one that first came on,
yes,
she is an FBA, but she's married to an African. And the real light skinned lady at the bottom, she's also FBA, but she's married to a Caribbean. And the guy up in the corner, he's Caribbean.
Now, this has been what I shared with my viewers. I do believe it was last week, because I am planning to do a series about how revolutionary Negro marriage and babies are. I believe that our people are weakened when they look down on the faces of their BIPOC and biracial children.
Right.
They know that part of my child is immigrant, is Caribbean, is a Ling Ling or Maria or, like Kunta, whatever. The bottom line is when they look upon their children and realize I have laid with someone from a whole nother culture, I believe it gets them in bed with fighting for the immigrant class.
It does.
I don't hear any of them fighting this strongly on behalf of the Negro descendant.
No.
The FBA.
No.
But you can hear them coalescing. And wait, this video is going to blow your mind. For you to tell me now that these two lighter skinned women are FBA, that's very problematic, family, when you hear the rest of the video. But I want to correct her because, see, this is the kind of nonsense I've been fighting since I heard it over in X. Just because, say, for example, I was born in Jamaica of Black American Negro parents. Does that make me Jamaican, Arthur?
No, it doesn't.
And that's my point. So many of these melanated immigrants believe that being born here in America makes them Black American, makes them foundational Black Americans. When we have clearly distinguished that being a foundational Black American means you have been here and you can trace your lineage prior to the 1870 census. These immigrants didn't, by and large, come to this country until after the 65 Immigration Act. Did you have anything else you'd like to contribute to that?
No, that's correct. All of that is. No. Go ahead. That's correct.
Okay.
And, you know, a lot of people talk about being separate and all of this other stuff. Well, look, you could do that now. Find yourself an island in the South Pacific and just go be separate. But most people don't even know how to feed themselves without a supermarket. So that's something that would break down very quickly.
Now, these foundational Black Americans.
Let me stop right there. This is a kind of offensive nonsense that really, really grates my nerves when it comes to these melanated immigrants. How diabolical is it of you? How disrespectful is it of you that your very existence in this country came at the behest of some of the brightest minds? I mean, we've been inventors since slavery. They would not allow us to patent our inventions since slavery. We have been inventing and doing things to move this country forward to the greatness that you see before you, the country that everybody's clamoring to get into. Ain't nobody clamoring to leave here. They're all crying and looking to us to spare them deportation. But this man can sit up here. Let's just hear it again. I got to hear it again. And you ain't heard nothing yet. Forgive me.
People talk about being separate and all of this other stuff. Well, look, you could do that now. Find yourself an island in the South Pacific and just go be separate.
Okay. Why in the hell should we leave the country of our ancestors?
Right. He's just being unnecessarily condescending.
Well, they're all, to me, I call them all trolls.
Yeah.
But it's highly offensive for you to think that us wanting to delineate means that we need to go someplace else. We need to leave the country. Because as far as I'm concerned, the goal is in not allowing us to delineate. They want our spot. They want our position. They want to be us.
Right. Now, you know, they got a whole lot of pushback at this particular video, and they did another video and made some corrections. They had another guy amongst their group that is an actual FBA and gave them a lot more clarity as to what FBA was about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate that, but to me, your first mind is your first mind.
First mind, right.
You can sit up here now that somebody's called you out and feign pretense that you got it and you cool and you clear. But the disdain that they spew in this video, to me, is at the heart.
It is.
Everything else is pretense because they know they got to get along. They got to go along to get along until the mission is accomplished. I believe that's why Mark Morial came in and defeated 20,000 of us when we were fighting for delineation with the OMB. I believe from the National Urban League, NAACP, they came in at the 11th hour. And then all of a sudden, the OMB says, well, it's too confusing. No, the best argument in the best case should have won. But to me, this is by design, especially when you look at the color of wealth reports in LA, Boston, and Miami. And you get to see how egregious the racial wealth gap is within the black and melanated immigrant space. When you're looking at household dollars, and I've shared this stat before, when you look at the household dollars that Black folks share, which was about $3 trillion, I think it's far less than that now, given the pandemic. but I digress. When you look at that $3 trillion that we share, 2.93 trillion is shared by 14%, right? Less than 700 billion is shared by 86%.
Correct.
Now, when you understand that 14% is the percentage of melanated immigrants in this country, and 86% is the FBA, the Negro.
Right.
Okay. When you consider that, then you start to understand how they've been set up to replace what used to be our nuclear Negro families. We got the war on drugs and war on poverty. They get nuclear Black families, as I've shared with you guys often, that when I was in a meeting with the OMB, they said our number remains constant because they've got a formula. Basically, as we die or are murdered or lynched or what have you, they are bringing in nuclear, moneyed, melanated immigrant families. That's why the 14, 13, whatever the percent is they own, that's why it remains constant. They are controlling the growth of our numbers through abortion and immigration.
Right.
And this I heard with my own ears. Now, they didn't say it like that, but when the reparationist perspective filters what they said, basically, as we are being genocided, they are replacing us with nuclear Black families and making them more American than us.
Right.
That is by design to extinct the Negro, to get rid of the 6.2 quadrillion and counting that they owe us in reparations.
Yes.
Back to the text.
But most people don't even know how to feed themselves without a supermarket. So that's
most of us don't know how to feed ourselves
without a supermarket. Not true.
So we were the mules. We were the chattel that farmed this land to make it the wealthiest in the nation. But we don't know how to feed ourselves outside of a supermarket. These are the insults. This is what we keep putting in position when we vote the couch and don't get out in our local politics and don't run for office. Did you have anything to say?
And with our FBA incumbents, political incumbents, supporting continued immigration, being out there in the front lines foolishly talking about not to deport all of these Latinos who are hostile to Black Americans. And once they become citizens and get their feet situated, the Latino population is one of the main out front helpers of white supremacy. So we got so we got legislators out there asking for more racism on our heads. And that's all the more reason why those of us that are truly descended from American slavery, to get some clarity, get some mobilization, get our heads together, and get the wagons circled.
But it's absolutely true. But why do they do that? Because they get to benefit off of all the freebies, and they're the ones in position to tell us to get over slavery, and they're the ones that are benefiting from all of our reparations.
Right.
They are paid to undermine us because this government is giving them everything.
Right.
I'm going to find that Mexican woman on that video. We'll share that. Let's continue.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they're caping for Latino, because they fall under the umbrella of immigrant. They get to double dip as Black Americans, and they get to double dip as immigrants.
Right.
They play both sides.
Right.
To our economic genocide. Let's
exactly.
Something that would break down very quickly.
Now, these foundational Black Americans, authority, whoever they are, I've never heard of such. And no,
you see the disrespect? You know good and well it's not foundational Black authority.
You may not claim me in your group, you know, just because I happen to be born an American, right? Born an American with beautifully melanated skin, but American nonetheless, right? We're not going to start dividing ourselves into these little pockets that make it easier for people to take advantage of other people.
Like they're taking advantage of us.
Right.
Now, these are the same, well, she, like you said, she's FBA.
Yeah. This
But
lady
you
was
have to
FBA.
understand, and I'm going to bring that series to you, how we are sleeping with the enemy.
Right.
Because there are lots of coon and FBA who are out here undermining us.
You mean like Karen Bass?
Oh, yes. As soon as she's under fire for denying, keeping $17.5 million out the budget for the fire department, now she want to play her black card. And I've already done a series, an episode on her. I exposed
Have to sleep in Mexican, right?
Yeah, I showed her Mexican husband, her Mexican children. I showed the whole thing over here. You know, I exposed them.
Right.
That was last week, I think. I exposed Obama. I exposed Joyanne Reed, Karen Bass. Oh, it was a 2-part series.
Okay.
You gotta watch the archive. It was epic. I brought out all the X-Files, baby. I had them lined up. All the X-Files. But anyway, these are the same melanated immigrants, right? They get to this country and tell their children not to mess around with the Negro.
Yeah.
Don't go around them. Don't associate with them. Don't date them. Don't marry them. But now, all of a sudden, now that we are delineating the way they did when they got to this country,
right,
to climb right over top of us, it's a problem.
Right.
Let's continue.
And let me tell you something. I'm sick of FBAs, okay?
Now she's an FBA according to you, Arthur.
This woman is an FBA, and it's too bad she's a cutie pie, but I hate her talking like this.
Now, see,
that's a damn shame.
Now I don't believe you when you call me cute. I don't believe you no more. Because this girl ain't got nothing on me. So you clearly need your glasses corrected.
She don't have nothing on you.
You need to put the wine down and go to your ophthalmologist and get you a new prescription. Because if she's a cutie pie and I'm a cutie pie, what's wrong with your vision? The two things can't coexist.
I'm just sick of people begging all the damn time.
Yeah, you can actually walk down Baltimore and step in human feces, and it's generally from an FBA.
Did you hear this, bitch?
Yeah.
Did you hear your cutie pie?
Talking about us like, no.
She said we defecate in the streets, Arthur. Against the Indians, East Indians, and Africans.
She is as bad as Roland with this shit.
Roland is next. I got Roland queued up next. We got to address it because I got to make these messages go viral. We got to talk about this. Can you believe this woman? Yo, cutie pie, and the young people defecate in the street. I don't recall even in slavery that we defecated in the streets.
No.
Do you?
We didn't do that. We didn't do that.
We have never done that.
No.
Let's say it again for kicks and giggles. In case y'all didn't really hear this woman. Arthur's cutie pie. I'm never going to let you live that down.
Generally from an FBA. Okay, so
oh shoot, what happened? No, she cut off. Let's back it up. I got to get that.
And step in human feces.
Wait,
and it's Baltimore and step in human feces, and it's generally from an FBA. Okay, so
in Baltimore, she's stepping in human feces by FBA.
She needs to watch where she's going.
But wait, how do we know that what she's stepping in ain't dog poop? Did she sit up there?
Yeah, how does she know?
Did
right.
she
Did she watch? Did she watch it happen or what? I mean,
Wait, not only that, Arthur. Not only did she watch it happen, but did she ask for some ID? Did she interview the person that was defecating on the street and ask them for their papers?
Right.
To see if they was a melanated immigrant or if it was FBA?
Right. Might have been African, like her husband.
I think she's confused. I think she's confused between when she visited his continent as to what she's experienced here.
Right. See,
now, truth be told, I have seen homeless on the New York City subway defecate, but I didn't ask their ID. Right. I don't know if they was an immigrant who comes from that. I just shared a video with my people. I don't know which Sunday it was, where this girl was on a TED Talk, and she was talking about how there's, I think, about 1 billion people in India, and how about 500 million crap in the streets.
They gonna take a shit now. They
right in the streets. And I showed it.
You can't stop.
So I don't know if the person that was, had so much soot on him, I don't even know if he was black.
Right.
He could have just been black from being out in the element. But the bottom line is I did see it, but I did not take his ID to determine if that was an FBA, an African, an Indian, a Caribbean, a white person. I didn't ask that.
Right. But see, in New York, it was either an immigrant or a person with mental issues. That's that, because I've never really seen a real black person in America do, even the lowest, I've never seen them do anything like that.
Right. And like you said, it has to be a mental issue. I'm just showing y'all the disrespect.
Right.
I'm just showing y'all that when y'all don't show up to the polls, this is what you allow in.
Right.
When you don't run for office locally, this is what is allowed in.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Go ahead, Art.
The other thing too, it's like, what do these people got against enforcing the border laws? Why is that a problem?
Because this is what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. Y'all don't hear me when I tell you the goal is our ethnocide and genocide. They want us extincted. If you recall, they're about 4 million. That is what we were upon emancipation. So if you are set up as a nuclear black family who can afford to keep your babies while the abortion clinics are in our neighborhoods where the war on drugs and war on poverty is in full display, you got single mothers raising young men who would rather twirl than be husbands in many instances, or would rather date women of other cultures. What happens when they do it? What happens when black men, Negro men are screwing each other and screwing Crayola wanton white supremacists?
Right.
It extincts us. Now you got a whole bunch of biracials and BIPOCs, and the line don't have the strength it once did.
Right.
You don't, like I said, when your daughter is Ling Ling or Maria,
right?
How in the world can you fight for your own people?
It can't.
You can't. It's just like, I know you're not into the Bible. When Samson's hair was cut off, the women of a lot of men in the Bible were their downfall.
Right. And out those BIPOC children, only half will claim black. The other ones will claim everything else but black.
Well, that's what I was telling Trump. As if he read it. He was sitting up here commending us. That's another lie circulating. Here he is writing up mandates that everybody is to recognize it as Black History Month.
Right.
Unakin to the demon rats who indoctrinated LGBTQ in Black History Month.
Right.
Did y'all know that?
Right.
They want to sit up here and lie on Trump. He ordering whole mandates. I told him that the B in black is initial cap. We're not talking color here, Donald Trump. President Trump, okay?
Right.
We're talking an ethnic group, a lineage, Black American, that's a capital B,
right,
along with that capital A. And I told him, I know you love golf, President Trump, but for you to use the very Kablasian Tiger Woods to make an inference as to great Blacks, he don't even identify as a Negro, even though his daddy is a Negro.
Yeah, he's one of those.
You can't use him. I know y'all got golf in common, but if you see this video, President Trump, know that you have to capitalize the B, because Black, we not a color here. We're a whole lineage. And you have to find people outside of what you love doing,
right,
that are truly an asset to the culture. Anyway, that's your Black history lesson. I'm just saying all that to say that the demon rats, this is LGBTQ month, y'all. They literally put that month on top of Black history. Just look it up. Google it.
So,
I may Google it for, let's Google it for you.
I haven't heard too much from that community lately.
Oh yeah, because we undipped them. We shut them down. When is LGBTQ month? That's interesting. Did they change it to June? Since I saw it.
No, I'll tell you. I mean, if you notice, we ain't heard ever since Trump said everything is male or female. We ain't heard nothing from that community.
He said, "Shut that pronoun bullshit down."
The damn trannies and took their wigs off and shit. I said, "God damn!"
Right.
They done packed it up.
Right. Black history and Black LGBT should be commemorated year round. Look at this. Oh,
I ain't commemorating shit. No.
Let me show you. Yeah. So now this is what they want to do. They want to make, these are the demon rats, y'all, not Trump.
Okay.
Let's be clear. Let's share the screen. Y'all want to dog out Trump. He over there signing stuff to make folks put some respect on the Negro.
Right.
And this is what the demon rats have already done. Y'all see that?
Oh, God.
So each year, Black History Month is celebrated throughout the entirety of February. Individuals and organizations take to social media news outlets and public events, among other platforms and activations, to learn about, uplift, and recognize the historic contributions that Black folks have made to culture and society. So I think they got 2 months. They get LGBTQ this month, and in June they get the month of June for Pride. They get 2 months.
They get 2 months
over who they screwing and what kind of dresses they wearing, and what sex they want to be today or tomorrow.
I don't know how it is in Los Angeles, but that Pride Parade here in Chicago.
Look at this. This is go ahead.
Is one of the biggest in the country. I mean, the Pride Parade here in Chicago.
Oh yes.
They be, look. I went to see it one year just to see what they do, and it was a whole lot. It was a whole lot of people that should have been arrested that day. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
Nothing but a bunch of
freaks.
No,
anyway,
I can't say that on YouTube. I can't say that on YouTube.
I feel you. Black queer people have always existed in history. We have and always will take up space, find and create joy in the spaces that were historically denied to us. Now, does anybody know you're queer? I mean, some of y'all are flaming, but aren't you Black before you're queer? So you want to delineate?
That's what I would think.
You want to delineate based on who you sleep with?
More confusion being thrown into the pot.
I'm just saying, y'all. This is Demon Rat. This is demon rats. Anyway, let's get on. I don't really give a damn who you screwing, but I don't want you making it some type of civil right issue, some type of affirmative action issue, because nobody knows who you're screwing when you sit down for a job interview.
Exactly.
They're not asking if you're, I guess, do they? I don't know. Are they asking that?
I don't know. It maybe depends on what kind of job you're looking for.
I guess, but the bottom line is, what does it matter? I know that when I mark up different documents for interviews, they're asking if I am Black, of Hispanic descent. Yeah, LGBTQ does have delineation. You're correct,
Yeah.
Ivy Dreams. Yes, in a way that we're not allowed to.
No.
Ain't that an itch? So who you screwing can get you the very delineation that we're denied. You can't make this stuff up. I need some of your wine on that. I think I need the whole bottle. Because that just really made me mad when Ivy put that. Ivy, I'm not even going to put that on my screen. I'm so mad at your truth. Okay?
Yeah. I never cared about that stuff either until they started pushing it in our faces.
Right.
Because we've always grew up with gay people around us. But
yes.
they were, I would say they were a lot more classy, like James Baldwin.
Yeah.
Everybody knew he was gay, but he wasn't pushing it in your face.
No.
He
was just being Black. He was just being Negro.
Right, exactly.
Fighting for Negro. He wasn't up there fighting to distinguish or delineate himself.
Exactly.
So here's Roland Martin. I'm not going to play too much of it, but I'm going to play this part and we can talk about it. The demon rats are really salty that a real Donald Trump is standing on business. They want to continue to elevate immigrants over us, but it's over for that. Lineage matters. Right. Okay, so see, they like to keep TRP TV in all this, in the X-Files. I get tagged in all, because they know I'm going to have plenty to say about it. They know who is going to go and scream it. Go tell it on the mountain. Ooh, I'm telling. You know how we used to do when we was kids. I'm going to tell it. So let's go. Let's get into Roly Poly.
I'm trying to keep people to understand.
So I guess there's two of them.
Institute. Carla, Trump and his minions, this is all tied together, a couple days ago, in their attack on migrants, they've been touting the 14th Amendment. And Trump goes out and he says that, that 14th Amendment, that was meant. That was meant only for formerly enslaved people of African descent. And that was...
I got to stop it right there. Is that not the truth? Y'all's immigrant asses didn't get over here to after the 65 Immigration Act. What other Black folks was here when the 14th Amendment was instituted? Was it instituted before Arthur Ward or after these immigrants got here?
Way before. And it was written in such a way that it's kind of like bound into the time it was written, because they did not anticipate the situation that we have now. If they did foresee that, they would have written it a little differently, and the real meaning would have been a lot clearer to everybody in subsequent years. They didn't intend for that to happen. They didn't intend for an undocumented person to be able to come over the line of the border and have a baby, and then all of a sudden, because he had that baby in this spot rather than this spot, that baby's a citizen. They didn't intend that. And I do think that if this case makes it to the Supreme Court, they are going to clarify the language, and Donald Trump's wishes for at least getting birthright citizenship to the correct meaning will happen.
Well, that needs to happen because this supersedes and trumps the OMB and them denying us delineation. Trump is literally doing it for us.
Yeah,
Tethers like this are trying to convince the rest of Black and melanated immigrants that the language being written in the way that it was includes everybody. When in fact, Haiti, there's no place in the Caribbean I can go where my Black American Negro parents could have birthed me that automatically grants me birthright citizenship in none of their islands. And in no part of the continent of Africa. Did y'all know that?
Right. Exactly. That's correct.
Continue. You stop me because I can't see you. You let me know when you want to jump in.
Okay. Was music to the ears of the foundational Black Americans, the FBA, the Freedmen, ADOS. Oh, they all on social media. See? It was only for us. That law was only for us. No law is only for one group of people. So he's using, see, some of y'all need to understand. Y'all got to recognize what Bill Duke said in that movie, High Flying Bird. They invented a game on top of the game. Trump is deliberately trying to play the wedge game because he knows there's a group of Black people who are so anti-immigrant and who think that they are so conscious that they are driving this messaging on social as only for us. We only want to see laws for us. We only want to see bills for us. And that is at the roots of what's going on with this discussion about the 14th Amendment. Joining us right now, my guest is Carl.
Now, this is a lie. This is an absolute lie. This is what Roland is doing. He is lying to the masses. We just told y'all that this could not have been written for them or anyone for that matter because nobody was here but us. We were it. And like Arthur just conveyed, they didn't anticipate this influx of immigration.
No.
To now have to factor in, they just did it because it serves corporate America to do this.
Right.
If you look in the social media spaces, you see how many illegals were working in these major companies that Black folks, Negroes, are denied employment.
Yep.
You can tell by how clear these warehouses are, how clear these construction sites are. They are nowhere in sight. That's how many of these corporations have broken the law to minimize wages. They're suppressing wages.
Right.
And so it serves them who are in bed with our government to broaden the context of the 14th Amendment that Trump is now trying to let them know, no, this has to end. This is for this specific group that was injured. And now all these demon rat shields just want to come out here and name Trump a liar and try to act as if he's working against us. He's not the one driving the wedge. These melanated immigrants are driving the wedge. When they get into political power and decide to tell us to get over slavery and deny us a conversation at the table about reparations, they're not representing us. And they've got two caucuses. They got the one that was intended for us, and they've got their own African and Caribbean caucuses. So they're stronger in numbers. They get to gate up and deny us. That's the wedge. That's the divide. That's why we're fighting for delineation. Arthur, did you want to weigh in?
No, well, you know what? Now, see, I'm glad that Roland is doing this because this is another one of his broadcasts that's proof that he is working against us. Because anybody, you know, I mean, Roland and Greg Card supposed to be so damn smart. Did they ever read from the back of the hiring line?
Oh, they're not interested in reading anything that's going to advantage the Negro. because they're immigrants. I don't know about Carr, but I know he's Haitian, of Haitian descent.
He is I think he's like half and half. I don't think he's fully Haitian. I know he's part Haitian,
And
and I think
again,
he's part
I'm
FBA.
trying to
But he seems to lean toward his Haitian side more so than his FBA side.
Most of them do.
Yeah.
It goes back to my earlier point. When you are laying with immigrants, that's who you wake up fighting for.
Right.
Because you see your family in them. Instead of grooming your young people to love their women, because this is our men driving this. The women can't propose to the men.
Right.
The men have to see value in Black women to marry them, not just make them baby mamas. And they have to see the value in Negro babies. And none of this changes until they do. Let's keep going.
And again, I'm trying to keep people to understand, keep them centered on what's going on here. This is master race language. When they are attacking illegal immigration, attacking migrants, what they're saying is we need all of these dark people out. When he calls African Asian shitholes countries, when he lies about Haitian immigrants are eating dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio, he has no problem with white immigrants. He has no problem with that. In fact, they would prefer in Ohio and in Minnesota and in Wisconsin, if these were white immigrants, they're like, man, we good. And I need everybody to understand that this is what's also playing out in Germany right now. It's been playing out in Europe for the past decade. They have hated African immigrants because they stopped having babies in those countries. And they're like, yo, the master race, we losing. Elon Musk is fixated on birth rates of white people. This is all about master race.
Did you want to weigh in first, Arthur, and then I'll weigh in?
No, go ahead.
Okay. What I hear him saying does echo some element of truth. I do know that they prefer that white refugees and asylum seekers and immigrants get to have access to this country. That's why they made the Irish white. They made the Italians white. They made the Jews white. They've made the Latinos white. They've made the Asians white, right? Because in order to get the lion's share of resources, they need to bolster their numbers because it's either the seed or the womb or the white woman's disdain for the white men that she's not procreating.
Right.
One of those three. But what I also know is that melanated immigrants or BIPOC, whatever the hell he is, overlook the fact that immigration, no matter what color, that mass and illegal immigration are crushing the Negro.
Yes.
Rendering us bottom caste in the country of our ancestors.
Yes.
We've got the highest rates of homelessness, highest rates of unemployment, underemployment. And so when you are caping for melanated immigrants, you are undermining the Negro.
Yes.
Go ahead, Arthur.
Yes. And this has been a continuous thing since 1865 with the first Homestead Act. And I'm just looking really askance at this guy, first of all, for supporting immigration, which he's smart enough to understand, to know that it hurts Black Americans. But secondly, to put up straight up propaganda like this master race bullshit that's coming out of his mouth. And that's not the case at all. Like you said, this is really about labor. It ain't about race this time. This is about labor. Now, of course, white people are not going to be too wound up about other white people coming in from Europe. And, that's just natural and that's to be expected. And I don't think that's not what we need to focus on, because those white citizens are not the ones that's going to impact our quality of life. It's these motherfucking Latinos coming from Mexico and South America that's really going to impact us. And this is why I'm enthusiastic about what Trump is doing right now and getting these people out of here. There's going to be a reset. And you know, the other thing that I'd like to say while we're on this, if we do get reparations soon, Trump is actually the most likely person to sign off on it.
Yes, he is. I believe as he's going out, he just might do that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Because he doesn't care what other white people think. He really doesn't.
Right. Let's keep going because I want to touch a little bit on DEI before I get to the comments in the chat. Okay. Now, let me share my screen. Hold on, guys. Okay, just a second. I gotta find it first. Hold on 1 second. Let me get some of this stuff off my screen because we don't have time to do all of these, but
okay.
Where's it at? So let's share this. Now, I'm not going to get into this whole thing because it's way too long, but I wanted to touch on how, and I don't know if you've heard it circulating, but a lot of these Black folks are now trying to take shots at Trump for calling out the DEI hire of that Black Hawk plane crash in the Potomac. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am. I don't know how well, even with trumpets, I don't know how he attached it because all the pilots that were involved are all white.
Exactly. Let me share my screen. Hold on. Let me stop this one and share this. I tell you why he referred to it as a DEI hire, which these demon rats are purposefully obfuscating. Let me show you. Just a second. Let me show you why he referred to it as a DEI hire. This woman was piloting the plane. And when you can understand that of the DEI hires, 76% are white, predominantly women, and 3.8% of DEI hires are Black. And because we don't have delineation, we don't know if they're melanated immigrants. More than likely, yes, they are. Or if they're Negroes. When Trump was talking about the DEI hire, he was talking about this white woman who benefits from DEI.
Oh, okay. Now, I did not know that the now is this the helicopter pilot, right?
Yes, of the
Okay,
Black Hawk.
I didn't know it was a woman. All I knew is they were all white.
Yes, they're all white. She was the one that was flying the plane that ran into the American airline commercial.
Okay, so she was flying the helicopter.
Yes, the Black Hawk.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's why he said
This is why he said it, because DEI, when he's getting rid of DEI, he's getting rid of white women, LGBTQ, and immigrants being able to weaponize DEI and utilize it for their advancement akin to affirmative action.
Right. But didn't I also tell you earlier that a lot of these layoffs, a lot of them are white women?
Of course.
Yeah.
That is what the DEI is about. And he knows this. And these demon rats and these corporations instituted DEI to close the hiring gaps after Mr. George Floyd was lynched on national television,
right,
by Chauvin. It was supposed to uplift and give the Negro advantage, make them more American. And what these demon rats are doing is weaponizing this DEI issue against us to make us keep sheep walking to the polls to continue to bring them back in power to our ethnocide genocide.
That's
to
right.
our extinction.
Right. But you know, as you know, I'm glad he's getting rid of DI. I'm glad he's getting rid of affirmative. It never worked for us anyway.
No.
We never got anything out of it anyway. So why should we support something that's never done anything for us anyway? I mean, if we're going to get to merit, then that means if we are truly going to get to merit, then that means a lot of white people will be in trouble. Because we have a lot of black people out there that have the education, have the skills, have the
critical thinking skills,
and just the talent to outdo a lot of these white people. So yeah, take all that shit away.
Yep.
Be blind to the color of the person that you're evaluating, and let's get back to merit hiring. Let's do it.
Well, let's do it because the bottom line is it's always been done. The lie and the propaganda is that we were getting jobs or we were getting advantage in colleges because of the color of our skin.
And that's not the case at all.
There may be some exceptions to that, but for the most part, we've never had the luxury of cheating our way to the top.
Never.
Mindy Kaling's brother faked being African American because he was too stupid to get into medical school on his own.
Right.
He didn't have the GPA, but there ain't no way that they would allow us to go into medicine or anything that we've accomplished on that level.
Right.
Without having the aptitude. We would not have been accepted in if we were true black. They knew that he went and made himself black. They knew that man wasn't us.
That's right.
But that was the way they were able to give him position over us. Akin to a lot of these melanated immigrants, he ain't the only one.
No.
And
He's
so by
just
the
the
time
one that
you give
decided.
up those set-asides to all these melanated immigrants, nothing but crumbs from the table is left when it comes to the very bright, intelligent Negro that has had to bust their ass to get into position to get into these colleges. There's nothing left for them. Nothing. And so they're over here doing selective outrage over these mass deportations, which Obama deported 3 million illegals or more.
Right.
Trump ain't been able to do with a handful. He just been in office, what, 2 weeks?
Barely.
Barely. He deports criminals, and you see these not even black, they're melanated immigrants crying all over the national mainstream fake news media. Crying harder for criminals. Brandon Johnson, you're protecting criminals in Chicago.
Oh, I can't. You know he's being called to Washington to be questioned on this sanctuary city stuff going on here. You know that, right?
Yes, I do know about that.
Now they already told him. They already told him to come. Now, I hope he sits around and gets subpoenaed.
Yes.
You know.
I hope he gets arrested along with.
He might get arrested if he keeps.
I hope they
around.
go to jail. You are obstructing federal justice. And you are giving cover to pedophiles in our communities.
Yes.
Murderers, drug dealers. While all the while trying to make us the face of it.
You sound like Trump now.
Rapists. That's right. That's right. in our communities around our women and children.
Right. Ivy Dream says maybe the pilot was LGBTQ.
Probably so. They got two for one. 2 for 1. And I really, I don't want to go down the road of conspiracy, which most of my stuff is always true. I never met a conspiracy theory that wasn't true.
Okay.
But I'll take the label. A lot of those people on those planes were Russian.
Really? No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I knew about the skating people, and I knew it was like...
Those were Russian athletes.
Was it 3 or 4 black people that was on that plane?
Yeah, there was let me go to the article.
I know one of the flight attendants was black.
Yeah, she sure was.
And
Hold on. I'm going to bring up that article and show you. Let me go back.
Some kind of lawyer. It was a lawyer, I think it was, young girl, black girl. She was a lawyer on that plane.
Hold on one second. Image of people on the American Airlines flight Potomac. Okay. Let me see real quick if they've got their photos in this particular one. They were showing photos and naming the individuals, and those were Russian athletes. I later learned. Hold on one second. Let me go back. The Independent had it for sure. Each of the young figure skaters killed in the DC plane crash had a story waiting to be told. That's not it. Oh, here she is. Name a third soldier who died in the helicopter. Hold on, guys. Just give me a second. Independent. Okay. Who was flying the American Airlines plane? Okay, hold on. I want to share this. And then we can get to the questions. I think I've exhausted this topic. Not now. Okay, hold on. Let me stop this and share this. Share screen. Okay. Y'all, can you see that, Arthur?
Okay, well, okay, now I see it.
Who was flying the American Airlines plane and Black Hawk helicopter before Washington, D.C. crash? Officials have recovered 40 bodies from the wreckage after American Airlines flight collided with Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac. So these are some of their images. Now, she was a pilot. Let's see here.
No, that was a flight attendant.
I mean, that's what I meant. Sorry. Okay, they're playing this commercial. I can't even skip it yet, y'all. Hold on.
An American Airlines flight when it tragically collided with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter near Ronald Reagan National Airport. Among the passengers were Russian immigrants and their children, a group of figure skaters and coaches. Notably, Vadim Naumov and Evgenia Shishkova, 1994 World Figure Skating Championship pairs winners, were on board. Cedarville University confirmed Grace Maxwell, a junior, was also among the passengers. Kaya Duggins, an attorney for the Civil Rights Corps, was confirmed by her family to have been on the flight. The figure skating community mourns the loss of Naumov and Shishkova, coaches at the Skating Club of Boston, along with teenage skaters Spencer Lane and Jinnah Han, and their mothers Molly Lane and Jin Han. Hamad Raza, whose wife was on board, said she had texted him 20 minutes before the incident, telling him they were about to land. The flight crew included Ian Epstein and Denisha Elder, both flight attendants. Sam Lilly and Jonathan Campos piloted the flight. Campos had dreamt of being a pilot since he was 13. 3 U.S. Army soldiers were on board the Black Hawk helicopter involved in the collision, a U.S. official confirmed. The crew chief of the helicopter was later identified as Ryan O'Hara. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp sent his deepest condolences to the families and friends of O'Hara and Sam Lilly, who both died in Wednesday's collisions. Andrew Eves was also on the Army helicopter, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. The crash claimed lives from various nationalities, including 2 Chinese citizens, as well as individuals from the Philippines and Germany. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves expressed condolences for the victims.
Yeah. So that Russian part made my ears perk up like, what? Interesting. Yeah. But basically, family, in conclusion, you're going to be race baited with a bunch of crap because the demon rats want nothing more than to drag you back to their plantation.
Right.
This is the goal. And I need you to lean in on the protest voter strategy until they're begging us to cut our checks. They all need to lose. I don't want to hear no belly aching about it. The demon rats have declared war on us and have been declaring war on us with our very own vote. They have tethered us to the bottom of this Titanic, and they are literally trying to replace us with immigrants because they don't like that we just say the power of the Negro vote. When we either set it out, which I don't agree with because the likes of your House of Reps and your senators is immigrant, not working on your behalf at all. Even if you put whomever, write yourself in for president. Pick a third party candidate. But we need to be showing up to the polls in Obama style numbers come the midterms to hold the line. And when you don't, the likes of Yvette Clarke and immigrants like her and Roland and those other ones that were disparaging us, or the FBA coons, are going to get in there and undermine us and make sure we stay cemented on the bottom because it is their goal to replace and erase us and our justice claim. And that's what I needed y'all to understand. That's what today's broadcast and all of my broadcasts is about. Opening your eyes to the truth of how the demon rats have declared war. They're using nuclear missiles, and the only one we got left is the power of our vote. We've got to run for office at every branch of government, and we also have to ensure that we get these betrayers, these melanated immigrants who have betrayed us and our causes out the paint. Put them on the bread lines the way they've done the Negro. Arthur, did you want to say something before I go to the chat?
Yeah, and I do second everything that Angela just said about the power to vote. But in addition to the power to vote, the power of incumbency by running for office, and also the power of engagement that once you get a person into office, that they become a regular point of contact, just like you do everything else that is important in your life on a daily basis.
Thank you for that. Guys, don't let no one tell you there's not power in the vote. We just set the demon rats down, and it was a landslide victory. Because while other immigrants are showing up to the polls to fight for their rights to be American, y'all decide to vote the couch in the most crucial election of Negro days. We cannot afford to do that. Because like I told y'all out here, Newsom made it against the law to ask for ID. The first in the 20 years I've lived here.
What?
So Arthur, anybody could go to those polls. Ling Ling or Maria could have gone to the polls and gave them my address off of mail. You know how they always confusing mail and carrying on. Right. They could have gone up there and said they were me and got to vote.
Wow.
I was told to put my ID away. And so for folks that are lying to you, telling you your vote don't matter, they are lying lying to you to get you to gerrymander your own damn vote. That's what they're doing intentionally, making it so that you don't believe in your vote, so that you won't show up to the polls and be counted. When we are the swing, and we were able to say that for one more election cycle with Trump, who is not as much of an enemy as Joe Crow and Skamala. Skamala says she wasn't doing nothing specific for us, although she weaponized our never-ending Holocaust against us to open up the Freedmen Bank Forum with Janet Yellen and give our reparations to immigrants and the banks.
Oh, I'm actually in the middle of writing a blog post about that particular incident, about the Freedmen's Bank Forum.
For 4 years while they were in office.
A Latino was gatekeeping, deciding who would come, who would be able to get in. And that's why only 10% of the forum had Black people. The rest were Asians and Latinos.
Of course they were. And I've already told you guys about Luis Pasteur, who was able to get so much money from the Freedmen Bank Forum. His North Carolina credit union amassed $1 billion, and he said he's going to give it to 126 ethnicities to take over North Carolina in the housing and the business departments. That's what Skamala did, and that's what she was prepared to do more of. While Joe Crow is the author of the 94 crime bill, chief in charge of the border, open borders, while Skamala was the border czar, in one breath telling the immigrants not to come, and in the other breath opening up the borders wide open and giving them CBC apps or whatever the name of that app was, so that they could get in here and get all of our stuff that they tell us they ain't got the money for. They are your enemies. And as soon as you accept that, is as soon as you can put the mask on yourself and
That's
your
right.
lineage.
That's right.
So y'all can F around and find out if you want to. But I thank God for the 28% of us who had the backbone of our ancestors, the one who's fought back and showed to the polls and returned the missile, straight no chase.
Right.
Let's get into the comments, y'all, and then we're going to pray out. Thank you, A-Dub, for being my... this is, for those of you who are new, this is Arthur Ward, creator and writer of Freedmen Absolute, and one of the co-founders of the former ADOS movement.
Yeah.
And he is the founder, one of the co-founders of Chicago Freedmen.
That's right. We're rocking it.
He's a force of nature and a force to be reckoned with right in Chicago. Did you want to give them a way to reach you if they want to get involved in the fight over there with you?
Yes, they can always email me, arthurward777@gmail.com, or call me. I don't care. My phone number has been out there for a long time. It's 312-256-5698.
Okay. I'm not going to put your number in that chat.
Okay.
They'll have to listen to this to hear it.
Oh.
Not doing that. Okay. I don't want no cutie pies calling you.
What? Girl,
I'm blocking all the way from California.
Girl, Angela, I can't bust a grape. What you talking about? All I do is look at this age. Shoot.
Maybe I blew up your phone. And you be done flew them out there.
I need you focused. Only reason why I be flirting with you is because I just want something pretty on my. I say, oh, I just want my people to see. I said, oh, he got it. I said, yeah, I can't do nothing, but I got it.
You got it like that, baby. Okay. You so funny. Okay, let's see here what they saying. I'm trying to go to the most important ones. Okay, you guys, if you want to be a part of that ACS survey so we can band the Negro together and get these tethers off our goodies, please Gmail me at thereprospect@gmail. Let's go down. We're only going to take the pertinent ones. And it hasn't come out yet. So I am forwarding your emails to Unity for Our Community so we can band together. Okay, so they're saying that Root Tracker says Obama is the biracial anchor baby POTUS. That is it, and that is all. Well, I don't know about that part, Yaira. I think that he's more biracial. His mother is white American. Is she from Hawaii, Arthur? I don't even really know where she's from.
No, she's actually from Kansas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's foundational white American. Well, she descends from foundational white Americans.
Yes.
You know there's such a thing now, Arthur. They done picked up some FBAs and now they're calling themselves foundational white. And now the Latinos are calling themselves foundational Latinos.
Yeah, actually, I've been calling that particular class of white people foundational white Americans for the past 3 years. If you go back in my blogs, yeah, because I mean, we were here because of them. So we're foundational blacks and they're foundational whites. And so actually, to me, they're really the only white people that count. The people that came after 1870 don't really count to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they're actually claiming that themselves. What I love that Unity for Our Community, Asan and Dawn, they came up with antebellum white and Ellis Island whites.
True.
That's the way they delineate the white folks. So, Yaira, so what would you consider Obama with the Kansas?
She's definitely antebellum because her family is lineage from slaveholders.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's antebellum, but his dad is Kenyan. So would he be biracial or BIPOC?
He would be biracial, but you know, I actually hate using that when it comes to Black Americans because one of the things that make us FBA is the fact that we do have European ancestry, all of us, even some of the very dark ones. Like one of my cousins, her phenotype, her complexion is actually way darker than mine. But when we did the DNA, she has more European ancestry in her system than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
okay, but he would not be considered Black American. He's not.
He wouldn't be Black American, but he's definitely Black. He's definitely Black. Yeah. Matter of fact, and also you got to remember, you're talking to a person that has had face-to-face interaction with him. And when I met Obama, he was still a state senator here. And I used to see him regularly at different political gatherings, and we talk all the time. And he would bum cigarettes off of me because Michelle would take his cigarettes, and he wanted a cigarette. And he did a cigarette for me, we'd be talking. So until I knew of his lineage later on, he looked just like a regular Black person to me. And you also got to remember, a lot of us baby boomers, you know, our parents gave us like African names.
Yes.
They did that a lot. You understand? So I thought
that
he was
more
one
so
of
in the
those.
70s, though.
That was 60s, 70s.
Not really 60s. I'm a 60s baby.
Yeah, because see, like
my siblings were Angela,
yeah,
Robert, Renee. My baby sister, however, is Khadijah.
Yeah, and my I was born into the Nation of Islam. My Muslim name, surname is Hassan, not Ward. Okay, so yeah, but you know, and then too, you know, you did have people that were born at that time who later on changed their names. You understand, and changed it to names like that. So I never thought anything of it.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's where a lot of the confusion is concerned for me.
Right.
When it comes to foundational Black American Negro, this is why we need our Negro identifier, which Barack Obama got rid of, him and Grace Ming. Talking about Negro was offensive when that's what we've been called since we were emancipated.
Yeah.
So how could that be offensive when that's on my birth certificate? Is it on yours too, Arthur?
Yeah, Negro is on my birth certificate. But you know what? In the blog post that I did called The one previous to the last one that I put up called the seven Freedmen.
Mm-hmm.
The last one I put up called the Seven Freedmen, in which I talk about Negro. In that specifically, I talk about uh, American descendants of slaves, foundational Black Americans, Negro, in which I said in the first paragraph, conflicted, born in 1956, Negro is on my birth certificate. The origin of this word comes from the Latin root Niger, which means black. The word was first used operationally in 1555, grown out of the Spanish and Portuguese Latin rendering of Negro, which directly means black. Colored was widely used interchangeably with Negro, especially during the first half of the racially hot 20th century. But, Negroes started falling out of favor in the mid-1960s, and that was like during the Black Power movement. And then you had the Nation of Islam pushing that word out there, black. The Black Panthers, Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, Angela Davis. We were saying black is beautiful. And, you and I grew up in the middle of this. So Negro started going out of favor. And even Dr. Martin Luther King started transitioning from him using Negro to black. You understand? Mm-hmm. So it's if you read that part of the blog post of the Seven Freedmen, I talk about why it's a great designation, but at the same time it's got a lot of stuff. But at the same time, when we were called Negroes, that was during a time when we got a whole lot of stuff done, and I mentioned that in the post. We got a lot of stuff done while we were Negroes.
Yeah, I don't understand why people. I mean, I get that I get the Black Power movement and the Black and I'm proud, but I've never been offended from Negro on my birth certificate, and I don't know anyone that ever was. And I feel like it's too challenging when you make Black about skin tone, when it's a whole ethnicity in this country.
Well, see, Black, you know what? I'll say this: Black has more political overtones than skin color. Because you got to remember during the 1960s and 70s, the people that's out front saying black, the loudest were light-skinned people. Kathleen Cleaver, Angela Davis, Huey Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. Elijah Muhammad was light-skinned. He held me as a baby. And told my mother to name me Arthur. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So I guess so. You would consider Malcolm X, born of a Caribbean mother and a FBA dad, he would be considered Black American.
Yes, definitely. That's why Dr. Darity makes that allowance. Because a lot of us, not everybody, of course, but a lot of us were born that way with that half and half, Caribbean. But, now you got to also remember, too, during the 1950s and 60s, the Caribbeans in America at that time were a lot more operational with us than the Caribbeans that come now. I look at that new generation of Caribbeans kind of cross-eyed because the Caribbeans that I knew, that were in the Nation of Islam, that were outside the Nation of Islam, they were Caribbean and they identified themselves as such, but they operated as neighbors, as friends, as
allies.
Like allies, family. I remember
they were on the front lines.
Yeah, I remember Mr. McIntyre. He was from Jamaica. He was our plumber, and he lived 2 doors from me, and his wife was FBA. And he still has a Jamaican accent. He still told corny jokes, and he was family as far as we is concerned.
Yeah.
So,
but I feel like it's being weaponized against us now.
There
are people like Obama and Skamala who mean us no good. They are. Obama did more for LGBTQ and DACA than he did for Negroes, as did Skamala. She was the same way. she preferred to do more for other groups, and she loved reciting our history.
She
But
don't
she
know.
would use it to uplift other groups,
She
especially
don't
her
know.
own, with the number of H-1B visas
Yeah,
and things of this nature.
she ain't black at all. I don't know how they shoehorn that in. She is not black at all.
Because her dad was a descendant of Jamaica. He was of Jamaican descent.
He
And
was
that
a Jamaican nationality.
Yes, Jamaican nationality. Thank you for the correction.
He
But
is of Irish and Indian ancestry.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And he was a descendant of slave owners.
Yes.
That's why they were in Jamaica to manage about 1,200 slaves.
Right. So I don't know where that black, that's why she could barely squeeze it out when somebody tried to press on that stuff. She is not black at all.
Yeah, I exposed her in, I think it was either the week prior, when I was doing the series is called, for those of you who are interested, Damn a Not Like Us, They Ain't Us.
Right.
Kamala was in the first part 1.
Right.
Where I dealt with this about her lineage and how Candace Owens really blew the lid off of this whole thing, where she was lying about her own grandmother. She's featured in her own autobiography, talking about, this is my grandma, and she's as black as the night and looks more like the help.
Yeah, then we find
did an
out.
Amazing job.
Yeah, then Candace exposed that they had no kin to her, was not kin to her at all.
More like the help.
Yeah, she was the help.
This was the lengths that Kamala was willing to go through just to get the black vote.
Right.
And that's why I feel like we need more delineation. And we cannot make this about skin tone.
No,
and it has to be a hard and fast rule concerning who can identify as a Black American and who cannot.
Right. It's all about lineage. It's all about lineage.
Yes.
And we cannot make it about skin tone, because what the whites did to us during slavery, and then the subsequent mixtures and mixtures on top of mixtures from us just dealing with each other. Yes, we're going to have skin tones and phenotypes that's all over the place.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, I got my family, just in my family, I have very dark-skinned people, and I have some people in my family that can pass for white if they wanted to.
I don't know of a Negro that doesn't.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Why are black people being silly and being caught up in colorism? That is one of the most backwards and non-productive things that we could do to ourselves, getting caught up in this superficial stuff that we had nothing to do with. We can't help it, and it's a result of the brutality that we went through in this country.
Absolutely. You're so correct. What do you think about the one drop rule? That's all
I
they're
love it.
going around.
I love it. The reason why, yes, because that means that's power. If all it takes is a drop to be black, God damn it, yes. I love it. Stay scared. You understand? Shit.
Ivy Dreams, Q-Lay, welcome to the live. The highest office in the government a Black American Negro descendant held was Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice.
Correct.
And she was Republican.
Yeah, and she's correct.
For all you demon rat lovers.
Right.
Who was the first senator on the demon rat side?
You talking about the first black senator?
Mm-hmm.
On the deal. Was it it wasn't Carol Moseley. No, it was it wasn't Carol Moseley Braun. Oh, good grief. Who is it? I don't remember.
I'll look it up while you answer this question. Ivy Dreams asks, can you please explain manumitted versus emancipated?
Oh, easy. Manumitted means when you are set free by an individual. Emancipated means when you are set free as a group.
Okay, let's see.
In other words, like if your direct master that owns you signs the papers and sets you free. That's manumission. Emancipated means when a government frees you from slavery wholesale. Numbers, millions of people, thousands of people, that kind of thing. That's the difference.
Okay. Okay. It's saying Hiram Rhodes Revels was the first African American to serve in the U.S. Senate. Carol Mosley Braun was the first African American woman elected to the chamber.
Interesting. Okay.
I thought it was somebody before her.
Me too. I thought it was too.
Okay, I'll look it up another time because I don't want to keep you too long.
No, it's cool.
Let's keep going. Hi, Gwen XOXO. Welcome to the live. Cosetta. Easy Axe. Yeah, he was sharing earlier about there being a big protest at the moment in downtown LA by illegals shutting down the 101 Hollywood freeway. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I'm going to find that live of that girl that's talking about why she voted Trump as a Mexican. I'll get into that next week, but they're protesting all over the place. My thing is, I get a little concerned. I know they're trying to manage to get the illegals out. I mean, the criminals out. Do you know what that number is, Arthur?
No, and they don't either.
Yeah. So my thing is, what about everybody else?
Well, according to Tom Homan, the criminals are priority right now. But the way that they've been doing it in Chicago is like if they find a guy that's a criminal, and then if he's with other people who may not necessarily be criminals, they get everybody. They take the whole lot. And they don't separate families either. They take everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I really do. I want them gone. And I really
Thank you.
I want them gone, all of them. And I don't care. They're crying that certain people have been here 30 years. Why in the world didn't you get your paperwork together in 30 years?
No, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. They're crying over that. No. And they said that the schools and the churches are not exempt. You can't be hiding in the schools and the churches.
Right. They shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be.
Yeah, because it's hurting us.
Yeah, because
it hurts us the most.
If it was one of us running up in the church, they follow us and grab us.
Wouldn't they though?
Real quick. And they're still not getting the nigger treatment. They're not getting their asses
Thank you.
Nothing like that.
They're not getting sprayed down like Laquan McDonald.
Yeah, or getting nightsticks upside their head. They ain't getting none of that.
None of it. They ain't getting choked to death like Mr. Floyd.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, y'all got it easy. I see y'all being politely handcuffed.
And all of them ain't being handcuffed.
So Arthur, is it true that out of 63 CBC members, only 10 are ADOS FBA?
Yes. It's really
bad.
bad.
My God. It's been a whole invasion in the CBC.
Yeah.
It's worse than I thought.
That's why it's like whenever you're approaching the CBC, you might as well be talking to the wall.
Because they're not hearing nothing concerning the Negro.
No,
we have allowed them to get position by voting the couch.
No.
And voting for Democrats.
Voting for Democrats and voting for skin color.
Yes.
Those are the three. The couch,
voting skin color demon rats.
Right, and voting skin color demon rats. Like I said, we got to get that Pan-African stuff out of our heads.
Yeah.
We got to get it out.
I cannot believe there's only 10 of us, and they don't even speak on our behalf.
No, they don't. Like I said, the CBC only speaks for illegal immigrants the Jewish community, and Latinos. That's that's who our Black representatives work for.
It's tragic. We're just simply being taxed with no representation.
With no representation.
That's why Kuhn Clyburn talks sideways and crazy to us and cuss us out when we question him about reparations. And this is why we must continue the protest voter strategy. We've got to get them out. We've got to make it so they don't get anything accomplished for themselves and other immigrants.
Right.
Angela Nevada, this guy is probably tethering to us Black Americans. I think he's speaking to the Black guy that was talking about we wouldn't even know how to feed ourselves without a supermarket.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, Ivy, let me go back. Delineation equals reparations. Amen. Inevitably. But we got to get low-hanging fruit. We're not going to survive it if we just, we got to multitask. Our legacy organizations, says Easy Acts, such as CBC, Urban League, NAACP, sororities, fraternities, and
others are compromised by T. I don't know what T means. By tethers? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. But also, these organizations like the NAACP and the Urban League are really Jewish-run organizations. So
yes,
we're not going to get anything out of them.
At all.
At all. That's why you got the Urban League working with a Hispanic organization like LULAC, who has always made it clear their disdain for Black Americans.
Yep. Well, we truly have no friends. Ivy says, Eyewitness Ann Coulter referred to us as foundational Black Americans on Fox News. Yes.
Oh, it's getting out.
Yes, Ann has been on that for a minute.
Yeah.
She's been on that for a minute, and there are people disparaging Tyreek for, I guess, colluding with her to get tangibles. But I think somewhere it was mentioned that she would prefer to see us get reparations than the immigrants to get all of these handouts.
Oh, boy. I don't know what they colluding. I mean, if Tyreek did collude with Ann Coulter to get her to talk of reparations, that's a good thing. Please.
Yeah. So Easy Axe goes back in and says, all of our legacy orgs, CBC, Urban League, NAACP, sororities, fraternities, and others are all compromised by Black immigrants. That's why we have no Black leaders fighting for us. We are screwed. Voting, identity, and respectability politics is how we got here.
Right.
Which is why we have to go out here and protest vote to undo what we've done for 70 years.
Right.
They shout, high jucks, 888. They shouting no justice, no tacos.
Tacos.
Yeah, that's what they shouting. Like we don't know how to make tacos now, even better than them.
Yeah.
I know my tacos are better than theirs.
Oh, you make tacos too? Damn.
Yes, I make tacos. I throws down. I love to cook.
My goodness.
Yeah, I'm a cute cook.
You're cute. Ooh. Hey.
A cutie pie cook.
I that's all right. Let me stop.
Ironically, these are 3 Black American women that have gone over to the other side. They were all right. They were all
No. One of them, no.
I don't think the first one was.
2 of them went to the other side. The third one was already there. That loudmouth, that dark-skinned chick with the loud mouth, she's already over there.
They said she's Black American, but she's Caribbean.
No, she's Caribbean.
Yeah, I don't think all of them. I think just the 2 you pointed out.
Yeah, the 2 lighter skinned ones are FBA. That dark skinned one that decided to run her mouth.
Thank you, Easy X. Angela, this woman can't measure up to you, even if I drink 3 bottles of wine. Thank you, Easy X. I tell Arthur he needs to go see his eye doctor. Ain't no way we both cutie pies. You gotta choose a struggle, and I'm not where you're struggling. For her as cutie pie and me as cutie pie. No, sir. Thank you, Easy. He said,
"Oh man." All right, family. I laughed.
Okay, Lionel said, "Don't get caught up in her."
Now, everybody should know that men are visual. Okay.
Yeah, but you gotta see things straight.
You gotta see it straight.
You can't be drinking like Easy said. He could have drank 3 bottles of wine. He wasn't gonna put her in the same cutie pie bracket as me.
Y'all say that shit is fucking up your vision, boy. Boy.
She really putting us under the bus. She really an African panty. Yeah, Lionel says the baby boomers of our people wanted interracial access, fumbled the bag.
Not all. Oh, wait now.
I kind of agree with Lionel.
We had some out there.
Not as many as we got today.
No.
And the ones with the biggest bags are leaving the bag on the white hand side.
Yeah.
It's not coming back to the community.
Yeah, I know. But
look at Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan messed up, but
lots of them have. But we're not gonna get into that.
I could not know. Angela, what would happen to me if I brought home a white woman?
Honey.
No. No, my family would not.
I could never.
My family would not tolerate that shit. Hell no.
And sadly, my daughter was like, "Mom, I might have to go, to the other side if these brothers don't get it together."
Your daughter said that? Oh, hell no. You gotta take over the Nation of Islam. They'll straighten out.
I just might have to do that. She might have to convert.
She will stop talking like that real quick.
All I could do was say, "Oh Lord, please,
no, don't.
Please produce a Negro, from this HBCU Negro, please."
Oh, my daughter tried me one time. She brought home a white boy one time, and it's like she said, "Daddy, it was an accident." I said, "You better."
It was an accident.
You better. No, I didn't raise you like that. Yeah, she ended up with a black man now, but it was what? I gave that white boy I think he ran off because I asked him too many good questions and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, motherfucker, you ain't doing that here.
Okay.
You better find you another one.
Let's see. Her husband tried. Oh, Easy X said her husband's tried probably sold FBA to Europeans.
Hey, that's a possibility.
Very possible.
That is a possibility.
Is her husband Nigerian? We all know about the country of Nigeria and defecation. Y'all clowning in the chat. Watch out for old
nigga. Wait a minute, he ain't talking about me, is he?
No, I don't think so. Shout out to Jason Black, TBA.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. I know we're not there yet as a people, but we ain't Crayola. We simple Americans, and we are the only Americans. Everyone else are immigrants. We went through an ethnogenesis to become who we are. Yes, very true, Easy Acts. When I say Crayola, I mean with 3 Ks. And there's a lot of melanated immigrants who are Crayola wanting white supremacists because they're doing the bidding of our oppressors to undermine us, to our economic genocide. That's what I mean by Crayola. I'm not referencing the Negro. Okay. They sell tickets to some pride events here in LA.
Yeah, they do that in Chicago too. Yeah.
And back to Ivy. She talks about LGBTQ. They get a delineation, but we don't get to. But we're forcing our delineation once again.
No, we have to force it to hell with what they think. That's you know, They don't decide what we know.
But how we identify. We are deciding.
We decide.
We're not waiting on the OMB and the government to get a clue.
Notice how FBA is slowly becoming part of the atmosphere.
Oh,
when you got a person like Ann Coulter even using it now.
That's right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely correct. And Joy-Ann Reid, her Trump wig is about to fall right off behind.
She ain't even wear no wig. She let them white people dye her naps blonde and shit. And now
that looks better than that Trump wig she had on, looking like a whole toupee.
Yeah, but shit, she had on a different wig every day. We didn't know what the hell she was doing.
She was trying to get it right, but it was always wrong. It was always wrong.
She needs to stop letting them white LGBTQ do her hair. That's what the problem is.
Oh my God, the pride events here in LA are so popular and glamorized that tourists come to see it, and they are certainly on display. And worse than Black women twerking. Welcome, L. Hall says, speak on it. They ask about LGBTQ status on college applications now. That's an abomination.
Yeah.
When you boil it down, it's simply about who you go to bed with.
Right.
Why do they need a status?
Well, maybe
this is the demon rats. Most particular, it's Obama.
Right. Well, maybe they
even California voted against LGBTQ marriage.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
We were opposed, and he made it federal, and everybody else fell in line.
Well, maybe they do that.
Williams.
Maybe they do that to
figure who's in a room with. Clause again. I don't know what that is. Oh, is he talking about Roland?
Brown-headed cowbird clause again.
I don't know what that means, MD Williams.
I don't either. I don't know.
Roland is inciting division, typical tether behavior. Exactly, while he blames Trump.
Mm-hmm.
What became of national security?
Good question. Good question, because if we're going to have an open border, who's coming through the border? You know, because they've already picked up a bunch of, check this, well-dressed and appointed Chinese coming through the border. So what were they here to do? And they stood out because they weren't shabby like some of the other people that were coming through the border. And it's no telling what kind of sales are here. You know, you got to remember, this is a security. I don't care about white people, but this is a security threat to us. Okay. And there's a whole lot of things that we need to do in order to keep from being in the way when people that this country has fucked over are going after white people. It's like 9/11. Those planes were not going after black people. Those planes were going after the white power structure and Jewish interests. 285 black people died on 9/11. 285, remember that number. It was 285 of us that were either in the buildings or on the planes. No planes going to Compton. No planes were going to the south side of Chicago. No planes were going to Harlem. Okay? If black people, the other reason why black people needs to get their economics together and have black businesses and black communities is so that we can do as much as we can to stay out of the way and not be collateral damage when foreigners that are after white power and are after Jewish interests are doing their thing. We need to be out the way of that. 285 black people died because of proximity to whites on 9/11.
And one of them would have been me.
Right.
I was preparing to go to Sedona that day.
Mm.
I would have been under there at that appointed time, under the trade towers when they were attacked.
Yes. And I used to live in I was totally weirded out when those towers collapsed, because I think I lived in New York for 8 years.
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, me and my two partners, we had a store on Green Street and West Broadway, which is only steps away from the towers. Okay, I had quite a few customers that worked in the towers. I used to make deliveries going up in the towers. I've been up in the towers countless times. And I was stuck in Hawaii with my girlfriend at the time when that happened. Okay. So when I saw those suckers collapse,
you knew the magnitude.
Woo, baby.
There was nothing more eerie than to go and see the cavity that was left after those towers came down.
Yes.
It looked like you could see to the core of the earth. That's how deep it was.
Right.
It was very scary.
Yeah.
And that was the first summer in the 11 years I had lived there. I did live there a total of 13 years before I moved here. That was the first summer I had ever been to the top of the World Trade Towers in the 11 years I had lived there.
Okay.
And you were so high up that all you could see was clouds. You couldn't see down to the street.
Right.
To give you a visual, family, of how high those towers. It was like, I guess, the Tower of Babylon would have been. But it was that high. All you could see was clouds surrounding it.
Right.
And so I understood immediately at the area where those planes hit, there was no way out but to jump to your death, or to be consumed by the fires, because the elevators were not working.
Right. And I've been up to the windows of the world of maybe 10, maybe 12 times. Because now the Windows of the World restaurant will be open at 7 in the morning for breakfast. Okay. And so at the time that those planes hit, I doubt it was if it were many customers up there, but there were definitely workers there getting breakfast ready. Okay. They also serve dinner. I think the Windows of the World will close at either at 10 or 11, because they would serve dinner. They also was a bar up there. And it was a few times where me and my friend went to the Mets game, and then we come from the Mets game before we go back to the store. We go up there and have some drinks so we could look outside and just trip before we went back to work. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. I mean, it was horrible to see, but it's different when you've actually been in those buildings.
Oh, yes. It hits different.
It hits different, yeah.
And
then, two friends of mine died in that. One was on the plane. A Japanese friend of mine, his name was Seimo Oyama. Look it up. Okay. He was on the flight going from Boston to Los Angeles. And my friend Morris, and I never remember his last name. His name was Morris. He worked for Candace Fitzgerald, and he was at work that day, and he died. So there you go.
If I lost anyone I knew, I don't know who. That was a horrible time, but this national security has been a risk because they have not been vetting nor vaxing any of these people they've allowed into the country over the last 4 years.
Right.
We don't know who's in this country. We don't know where the sleeper cells are.
Right. And you just letting them in? I mean, we gotta have some security, and that's protecting the southern border is just basic nation maintenance.
Well, especially when you're so invested in protecting places abroad. You're giving money to Ukraine to fight the war with Russia. You're giving money to Israel to fight the Palestinians.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not spending any money to protect the interests of the American citizens.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they lost by a landslide. Doubly the hype. It wasn't by just a little bit. I think she lost by something like 100 electoral college votes.
Something like that.
It ain't small.
Yeah, because Trump won over the amount needed to win.
Oh, yes. It was a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
L. Hall says, Roland Martin is so contradictory in his stance. I'm sick of him and Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is doing the freaking most. Thank you for bringing him up, because that goes back to that stupid ass boycott. Let me help you understand something. Target don't give a damn. And it's hurting the handful of Black businesses that are on the counters there for folks to be deciding at the behest of stupid people like Al Sharpton, who clearly knows the data. He knows we don't benefit from DEI, but he out there at Costco's spending that $750,000, close to $1 million that Skamala gave him. Roly Poly got $350,000 from Skamala. And so naturally, they're going to be in there fighting for the interests of the demon rats to our ethnocide. But I digress. All these stupid boycotts of Target, they don't care. That's not where they're making their money. Black folks don't have money like that. They're lying to you. Most of the money that Black folks have is either overextended on credit card debt, or they're using their money simply to survive. If they're fortunate enough to have employment, if they're fortunate enough to not be struggling with underemployment like many of us are. So please, you're talking about whites and immigrants who share in hundreds of trillions of household dollars. I just told y'all 86% of us share in less than 700 billion since COVID. So what do they care about y'all being up in arms over the fact that they're getting rid of DEI, which is serving 76% white women, 3.8% Black folk, who are probably mostly melanated immigrant. That's what Al Sharpton wants y'all to boycott over. It's asinine and ridiculous to be fighting for whites, LGBTQ, and immigrants to have the jobs that you can't even get. And you're going to crush the few Negro business. I know Tabitha is one of them. She's got some stuff in Target. And there was another sister. I can't remember her name. I don't know if she's immigrant or a Negro. But the bottom line is we don't have that much representation on the shelves as it stands.
Right. I'm not going to stop shopping at Target. The hell with Al and this bullshit.
I'm just saying that our people don't know the full story. That he's got a lot of our electorate stuck on stupid, fighting for the rights of whites, immigrants, and LGBTQ over their own lineage.
Right.
You don't make sense. And that's what I'm talking about. The FBA coons that are paid to undermine us. Paid to keep us bottom caste. Paid to keep us boycotting over BS. You can't even, of all of these places, you don't see no Negroes at the top. DEI has served all them white folks to get position over you. Even at the Costco. Ain't no Negroes sitting at the board of Costco's. Look it up.
No.
You can't go in any Costco out here and see no Negroes working.
No. Because my understanding is that they pay very well at Costco for what you're doing.
Yes, they do. You don't see no Negroes at the local grocery store in what used to be Black communities. You don't see them working in banking. You don't see them at the malls. But y'all want to boycott. Not y'all, because I got some of the smartest people. I educate them so they can take it forward. Right. I know my people aren't stuck on stupid like that. But this is why it's important to tune into the reparationist perspective, because I'm going to bring you the real. I'm going to give it to you through the right lens. I'm not going to lie and gaslight and propagandize. I'm going to tell you what we need to do as well. Anyway, back to the text. Hi, BB. 14th Amendment was intended for Black American freedmen descendants and their descendants' children. The law has been misused, misappropriated, and piggybacked. Absolutely, BB. like we mentioned prior, if you're just now tuning in, nobody else was here but us.
Right.
So it could not be for all these immigrants the way Roland Martin is lying to folks. You didn't even come till 65 Immigration Act. When was the 14th Amendment established, Arthur?
Oh.
Do you know the year?
It was after 1865.
I'm going to Google it. Hold on.
I think it was 1866. Hold on.
I'm looking it up right now. It was, you're right, 1866. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution was passed by Congress on June 13, 1866, and ratified on July 9, 1868.
Right.
Where were all these millions of immigrants at? Or their parents? They weren't here. So do you see, if you don't examine what these tethers are telling you very closely, you can begin to believe that something written in 1866 and ratified in 1868 applied to people that just got here after the 65 Immigration Act.
Right.
You got to use your critical thinking skills. Always ask who you and go do your own research. Don't you take these demon rat shield who are getting paid.
Right.
Reparations.
Right. And it's only I hate to say, the white conservative YouTube channels that's talking about law that's actually explaining the 14th Amendment correctly and what it was supposed to be used for.
Yeah.
All the liberal lawyers
are
talking crap.
because they, like you just said, we only got 10 Negroes in the Congressional Black Caucus. And they're not fighting for us. They're working for immigrants because they're owned by immigrants.
Right. Well, they're owned by the small hats.
Huh?
They're
Small
owned by
hats.
the small hats.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Skamala got millions from APAC. I saw it on the APAC tracker. Married to a Jew.
Yeah, that was the other thing that bothered me too. I said, I don't think I want him up in the White House.
Yeah, why would you? Why would you be voting for that? That's why how Obama slicked us. He been dating white women all his days. Some allude to men too. He been dating white, sleeping with Becky, playing in the snow all his life, because that's who raised him. His white mama and his white grandmammy and grandpappy. And so for all intents and purposes, his soul was on ice. He got with Michelle because it was politically expedient.
Right.
He knew good and well if he brought up Becky or Ling Ling or somebody up in there, he was not getting no black woman vote.
No.
Okay, so he knew this. All of this was staged as political theater. Now she won't even show up to funerals nor inaugurations with him.
She's just tired.
I hear there's trouble in paradise. I'm not going to spread things I don't really know in confirmation. I just want you all to understand that this is a whole plot against us to keep us bottom caste, because that is what capitalism requires. It requires a bottom caste, and these Crayola wanton white supremacists have decided we are it. Okay.
Well, I got some people, a whole bunch of people mad at me when I was at a gathering, and we were talking about who was going to be bottom caste. I said, well, what about, there was some Latinos out there in the audience too. I said, what about the Latinos? Can't they be bottom caste for a few decades?
Right, that part.
Yeah.
If somebody trade places. Nobody wants to trade places.
Yeah, you know.
And they clearly want us to be the bottom because it's the government doing it.
Right.
At every branch. Local, state, and federal. Okay, those duplicative lawyers and constitutional law judges will be checked and corrected. Yes, BB, that's the hope and the plan. That, when it's challenged, because they spending a gang of money to try to make it about everybody.
Well,
when they know better.
Well, we still got a conservative, excuse me. We still got a conservative leaning Supreme Court. So I hope that the Supreme Court will rule in terms of the original meaning of the 14th Amendment, and we can stop this shit right away. Along with along with guidelines as to how birthright citizenship should be conducted.
Well, you know what? Clarence Thomas was one of the first to bring out, him and Ketanji Brown were talking about how the 14th was reserved for us, and that's what its intent was.
Really? I missed that.
Yeah.
When did they say that?
Oh my gosh. It had been brought up. This has been brought up some time ago. Let me look it up.
Okay, I want to see that.
Yeah,
Shit.
let me look it up real quick. Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas speaks on the 14th Amendment. Justice Clarence Thomas has interpreted the 14th Amendment in several ways, including its privileges or immunities clause, substantive due process, and the colorblind view. Wait, that's not what I was looking for. Thomas has tried to revive the privileges or immunities clause, which he believes requires states to respect fundamental rights. The clause was intended to eliminate the distinction between state and national citizenship. Thomas believes the clause promises to restore the country and his community. That's not what I was looking for. Colorblind view. Thomas has argued that the 14th Amendment's colorblind view is a post-Civil War amendment that protects individuals' liberty. Thomas has said that the government should be colorblind to prevent a cycle of race-based balancing. I don't understand that. Wait, hold on. Let me look up Ketanji. Maybe that was the one. I could have swore that Thomas was speaking and putting protections around it. Ketanji Brown Jackson on the 14th Amendment. Okay. Hold on one second. And she married to a whole snowflake.
Yeah, she's got a zaddy.
Mm-hmm. Just a second. I'm trying to bring it up. And she, hold on, skip that. Let me see something. I don't want to be labor. You yawning and things. You can drop.
I'm okay. No, I'm all right.
Okay, it says Justice Jackson argues 14th Amendment wasn't intended to be race neutral or race blind.
Uh-oh.
During a Supreme Court oral argument on whether Alabama's congressional redistricting map violates the Voting Rights Act, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson makes the point to the state solicitor general that the framers of the 14th Amendment did not intend it to be race neutral or race blind, and that it was written to provide a constitutional foundation for the Civil Rights Act of 1866.
Now, you know the Civil Rights Act of 1866 was written to, in a weird way, atone for them not giving us reparations.
I was not aware.
Yeah. By guarantee that we're able to conduct business and do contracts and do everything that's necessary in order to create a commerce infrastructure within the Black community.
Well, let's listen to her little 2-minute thing. Hold on. Well, where is it at?
It's trying to load.
Yes, it's really slow. Okay, where's the song? I don't hear the volume at all. How do I skip this, or can I? What is this dumb thing doing? Is it almost over? Is there a way to fast forward this? If you drink almond milk daily, this is what happens. Okay, let's see if
They really just showed sort of broad-based societal discrimination. They didn't show anything wrong with our map, so it cannot be that that is specifically identified discrimination that could justify using race to change our map.
I don't think that the historical record establishes that the founders believed that race neutrality or race blindness was required, right? They drafted the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which specifically stated that citizens would have the same civil rights as enjoyed by white citizens. That's the point of that act, to make sure that the other citizens, the Black citizens, would have the same as the white citizens. So they recognized that there was unequal treatment, that people based on their race were being treated unequally. There was a concern that the Civil Rights Act wouldn't have a constitutional foundation. That's when the 14th Amendment came into play. It was drafted to give a foundational, a constitutional foundation for a piece of legislation that was designed to make people who had less opportunity and less rights equal to white citizens.
The 14th Amendment is a prohibition on discriminatory state action. It is not an obligation to engage in affirmative discrimination in favor of some groups vis-a-vis others.
No, but as the record shows, that the reason why the 14th Amendment was enacted was to give a constitutional foundation for that kind of effort, for the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which was doing what the Section 2 is doing here.
This is just one case in several that the court will hear this term regarding elections and race. Okay. Well,
actually, her reasoning is good to hear. Because that means, to me, that means that she, there's a very good chance that she'll side with the more conservative side of the court in terms of interpreting at least the birthright citizenship section of the 14th Amendment. Because I think that, because that's just the first part, I think the 14th Amendment has 3 sections. And the other 2 sections have nothing to do with birthright citizenship. They have to do with other issues. But that first section, this is going to be this is going to be a wonderful Supreme Court case. I can't wait.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's see. Already told them tether takers, OBT 2025 beyond ADOS and beyond 2025 and beyond, adios. And to the non-Spanish speaking, if you're not here for political refugees, asylee, you out of here too. The economic migrants are done. Okay, that's what Bibi said. Yeah, they're here for economic advantage. They're not here. They had to cross how many countries to get here seeking asylum, allegedly?
Right.
People are seeking asylum. The only ones that could really say that would be the Haitians.
Right.
They are attacking illegal immigrants. Who, Ivy? Who's
Who?
attacking illegal immigrants? Has anyone heard anyone among Black leadership say anything about the 14th Amendment being for Black Americans only? Absolutely not.
No. Not
They
so
never
far.
will. They want immigration. to replace us, especially our vote. And they're mostly comprised of immigrants, as we just learned. Out of how many of them? 60 something?
Right.
Only 10 are FBA?
63, yeah.
Out of 63, 10. So no, they're in there fighting for immigration, mass and illegal. Ivy Dream says Trump is kicking out European illegals also. Oh, I didn't know that. Every time I look on the TV, it's somebody Mexican.
It is a few being kicked out, but it depends on where they come from.
Easy access. White people. I'm sorry, Oscar.
No, you got some Russians over here that they don't want over here.
I see.
Yeah.
White people are never honest and fight fair. What a horrible group of people. I don't know who is more afraid on an equal level, the whites or the illegals. I don't really understand that.
Me either, but I wish black people had more unity in terms of fighting white people, and I would recommend never fight fair with them. When they go low, we go lower.
Yeah,
because the point is,
that's the late great mayor. Who was he? City council member
Edward Mays.
Yeah,
that's right.
He out of Detroit.
Detroit.
When they go low, I go lower. Every time Phil from the African diaspora plays that video, it just cracks me all the way up. Do you hear me? I just die laughing. It's so funny. Okay, so Ivy says, I'm a union steward and illegal immigration hurts American labor.
Yes, it does.
Arthur Ward, reparations cannot come without our being clearly delineated. Would you agree?
Yes, you have to have a clear delineation in order for us to put together a coherent legal and legislative case for reparations. Otherwise, nothing can happen.
As you saw when they competed in every state, reparations fight.
Right. Matter of fact, a delineated group has to be the first question that's answered before you proceed with anything regarding reparations. And you know what? This is how you know Narcan and Cobra and HR 40 is full of shit. Because the very first order of business is not being addressed by HR 40. HR 40, the very first paragraph, the very first clause within HR 40 should clearly spell out the delineated group that you're advocating for in this particular bill. And Narcan and Cobra will say, well, that's something that needs to be hashed out at the table. Well, if that's something that needs to be hashed out at the table, then we can't come to the table in the first place. Because the very first place thing that you need to get straight, you know, the delineation is the basic reason why you're coming to the table. But what about this delineation? What is the issue that you're trying to straighten out with this delineated group? And they never want to talk about that. So we can talk about that's part of the negotiation. No, it ain't.
Ain't nothing to negotiate on.
There's nothing to negotiate.
It's cash based. It's lineage based cash reparations. The end.
Right.
But they make it about an issue because they either don't want us to get it or they want a piece of it.
Right.
Based on the racism that they chose to migrate into.
Right. Exactly. And they want to come up with all kind of nut sucker stuff like tiers and all. What? Tiers? No. It's just one tier. Black folks that are
descendants of the
descendants of slave. Right.
Period.
Period.
Did Barack Obama coin DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion?
No.
Who did? Do you know?
No, that was something that was created by an agency within the federal government, not a particular individual.
Hi, Shauna Ward. Welcome to the live, darling. PD, is that my guy? PD, did you change your handle? PD reports to news. DEI has never benefited Black Americans, just like affirmative action never benefited us.
Right.
Well, it did before mass immigration. There was a time when you can look at the silent gen. Wait, when was it established? There was a time when there weren't as many immigrants here. I remember growing up where I was the first to be degreed. Me and my sister were the first to be degreed. And yet we owned a home and worked at the factories and was able to eke out a good living in a 2-parent household with 4 children. Okay. So there was a time when we actually benefited, but we weren't competing with foreigners.
Yeah, but you know what? I will say this, even without the foreigner thing, white supremacy, whenever they do something that benefits us to any degree, it's on a clock.
It is on a clock.
It's on a clock.
Even Reconstruction.
Yes. Yes. Yep. So it was only a matter of time before, white women would shoehorn into it, and then
LGBTQ white men.
White men, yes. It's always
immigrants.
Yeah. See.
Always on the clock.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. Create a more secure gate akin to the 14th where they can't be shoehorned.
Right. So this trial that's coming up with the Supreme Court, we're going to hear a whole lot about slavery and Dred Scott and, original intent,
Yeah.
So how exactly does DEI affect bootlicks and gatekeepers amongst us? Okay, now I'm assuming that you mean gatekeepers as far as those that are working for the Democratic Party. Is that what you mean?
Let's go with that. Hi, Cosetta.
Okay, well that means that you're going to have people losing jobs. You're going to have people losing jobs.
Is there a way we can come up with a way to prevent foreigners from being able to be in politics? How are all these foreigners taking over? How are all these first and second gen now running the CBC? What is going on? How is that allowed? How do you not have to be foundational Black or white in order to hold political power? Because you're going to get in there and be like an Ilhan Omar who's going to work in the interest of the Somalians.
Well,
or Yvette Clark who's working in the interest of the Caribbeans.
Well, once you are a citizen, we can't stop that. The only way that we can stop that is to whoever's running for a particular office to check their paperwork. Who the fuck are you? Where you come from? And then vote for their opposition. That's really the only way that we can operate. And we got those tools at hand, but we're not disciplined with them. We don't
weaponize our vote.
Yeah, it's just like, people always saying, well, we're not a monolith. Yeah, you're right. We're not a monolith. Jews are not a monolith either. But you know what? There are certain things that they are a monolith on, and that's why they're effective as a group.
And that's what we need to become.
Yeah.
We need to move as a block.
Yes. In certain things, we need to move as a block. But at this time, we're not moving at all as a block in anything.
Well, I think that those who chose to vote at the couch, that I totally disagree with, and those who voted Trump, which I totally agree with. I mean, I pushed that strategy at your behest and a few other people that told me, girl, if that's what you believe in, keep pushing.
Right.
And that's all I needed because, child, the name calling was getting to be too much. I mean, family, friends, comrades. I just fell out with a sister friend who called me stupid for supporting Trump.
Yeah.
Talked about how he's going to take money from the HBCUs and end Black history. All this demon rat propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
How's he ending Black history at the same time telling everybody they got to recognize it? While demon rats give you LGBTQ in the same month.
Right.
Make it make sense.
I know. You know, that's me and Cynthia fell out because I was voting for Trump.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
It's
But
crazy.
you were the one to encourage me with my
Yeah.
protest voter strategy, and folks, that caught on.
Yeah.
I just kept nailing it, you know, every broadcast until it was making me sick. It made me sick. And I had already lost Shirley Huzar from Urban Game Changers.
Really?
Yeah, she died of cancer.
Oh, wow.
Fighting for Negroes to vote for Trump. She was the one that got my head turned around and made me see it right.
Yeah.
By showing me what was happening to us here in California.
Yeah. See, and I hope y'all don't make Kamala governor.
Let me tell you something. If they don't get it, listen, if that happens, I'm gone. Do you hear me? I'm this close with Newsom and the way he's been catering to all these illegals, using our tax dollars, driving us into deficits, talking about paying $150 million to fight Trump from removing these illegals up out of here. Yeah, I'm this close. If they vote for Kamala, it's a wrap. I am out of here, packing on the next thing smoking. They talk about they leaving the country. If Trump were to be elected, I'm here to tell you, if that, listen, I'm going to try to keep it cute. If she wins, it's a wrap. I'm done with California because we won't stand the snowball's chance.
Well, aren't they calling Newsom to Washington to question him about California being a sanctuary state? Ain't they calling Karen Bass?
Karen Bass is trying to make it. It's not. Who knew that it wasn't sanctuary? They've been operating like a sanctuary state, and it's not even one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not even sanctuary. Y'all sanctuary, we're not. And y'all didn't even get to vote against that.
Yeah, they blocked that
blocked.
in the legislature.
Yeah, that was crazy to me. But you call yourself a Democratic Party. The oxymoron of it all.
Right.
That was a mix of Russian and American elite level ice skaters. Thank you, L. Hall. Carl Diggins was a young and up and coming civil rights attorney. I believe she was targeted. Wow. Carl Diggins was a real threat to the corporate. Definitely something dark and sinister at play. Hi, Caitlin. There was a broadcast about this somewhere, and it was reported flight attendant was Afro-Caribbean American. Well, I still feel very bad for everybody. Let me just be clear. I only reference the DEI hire to help y'all understand the trick bag and the pali tricks of the demon rats.
Right.
I'm not disparaging anyone that was lost to that horrific crash.
Yes.
Everybody, no matter where you descend from, is in my prayers. Okay. The families, are in my prayers. That was horrific what occurred. So please, I have to do this disclaimer. I am not anti-immigrant. I'm anti our government's weaponization of immigration against the Negro, to our genocide, to our extinction, to our economic genocide. This fight is against the government.
Right.
These immigrants can't receive no more than they are allowed by our government. They're not going up in there and robbing the coffers. They are being given our Americanness with our reparations, taxes, and Social Security. So I just want to be clear about that, okay? I'm not fighting immigrants. I'm fighting the government. They are the sole reason why we're in the state we're in. And demon rats played a huge role in that, lying to us every time they run for office to get our votes, and now here we are.
Now, pull this guy up. Who go count? I guess this person is probably a troll. I don't know.
Who?
Oogle count. OOGLE count. Talking about he just turned in. This person just turned into watching, and it was.
No, I get rid of trolls. I don't see nothing coming up under Oogle count.
Okay.
Where do you see him?
It's right there. Under comments, he's right above Gwen XOXO. OOGLECOUNT. 10:34 p.m.
Oh, I don't see that.
You don't see him? Okay.
I'm scrolling. Lord, they've been busy over here chatting. I don't see him. Oh, it's 8:37. Okay. I'm not going to get to the rest of these because listen to Mouthy Megan. She goes in hard on Nigeria, says PD. I think I'm not going to say his name. He clearly is trying to be incognito. But let me, Arthur, I am so grateful to you for joining us. I'm going to pray us out because we're like, I only do about an hour of the comments. I apologize. Thank you, co-host, for keeping it lit over here. I really appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Arthur, you were just the best to bring on and to dig into DEI in the 14th. I appreciate you so much as always.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll be calling on you again. Okay.
Yes.
And again and again. Thank you so much, A-Dub. You guys be sure to Gmail Arthur Ward if you want to get involved, especially in Chicago. And make sure
I was trying to put my blog address up in the.
Oh, let me put it.
Yeah.
FreedmenAbsolute.com.
Yes. FreedmenAbsolute.com. Yeah.
Yep. Let me make sure. Lord, I got to put my glasses on. It's so small. FreedmenAbsolute.com for Arthur's blog. It's awesome. ... Okay. So thank you.
Gwen called me a gentleman. Tell her I'm not a gentleman.
You are a gentleman. Angela, these Latinos over here by my house, I told them I was going to call the police because they was parking in my driveway. You should have saw they moved every car they have from around my house. Yeah, that shows you who's legal and who is illegal, right?
Right.
The way they scatter like roaches.
Right. And
I have a lot of rights activists rise to prominence. Oh my God, my family really filed in tonight.
Yeah, and you know the Latinos are weird. It's like you got Latinos that are cool, like Taco, the guy I mentioned before, the one that wants the migrants out of here, and then you got a bunch of Latinos here that are absolute assholes.
Right.
They are. I wish ICE would pick their asses up too.
Right, there she is. Oogle count is there. I see it. Oh, there it is. I just tuned in to watch, and it was quite enlightening until I heard you voted for Trump. Now I see you as a part of a problem bigger than not having reparations. Yeah, I don't care about that too much. As long as they don't call me out of my name and carry on, that's not too bad. They're entitled to their opinion. Yes, I voted for Trump.
Yeah, I did too.
And wish I could take both terms of voting for Obama. I wish I could take it back.
Yeah, well, you know,
we vote for a party that has this representation of over 900 white supremacist hate groups in America and expect reparations out of it. Who said I was expecting reparations out of either party?
Right.
Reading comprehension is fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I say I was looking to the Repugnant clans to give us reparations?
Yep.
This is bigger than reparations. This is about the Negro flourishing in the country of our ancestors. Because unlike everyone who's stolen from us or who have allowed the handouts, they certainly weren't giving nothing back.
Right. And who says that the Republicans won't do reparations?
Right. Trump might want to pull a Lincoln.
Yeah, because I see more and more white conservatives starting to come around. I've actually seen more articles written by white conservatives saying like we need to maybe consider reparations.
Yeah.
So
because
no.
they're starting to see that undermining us has got them in a jail.
Right.
It's boomerang.
And also some white conservatives have seen that we're not the enemy.
Yes, especially the way we came out to vote for Trump.
Exactly. We can't be the enemy.
They're seeing that the foundational blacks and the foundational whites moved in a certain way to save America this time around. Right. And that's not lost on Trump, nor, the folks who are foundational to the white folks that are foundational here. Attention, Brother Marcel Dixon is at the president table talking about reparations. Well, look at there. I couldn't think of someone better to be at that table. And It's not just Brother Marcel Dixon. I've got comrades out of Chicago at the table.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so please trust and believe. We're not listening to nobody oogle count. I don't listen to nobody disparage what will and will not happen. I do know that from Marcel running and from news outlets like mine, we are sounding an alarm and making reparations a household name. The revolution is being social media eyes. I don't listen to the negative Neds and Nancys. We got to stay on our square.
Right.
Because without it, we're done.
Right.
So
yeah, I wouldn't even mind, even though me and her and Angela and her, we got some serious differences. But I wouldn't even mind Yvette Carnell being at the table because I know she's on the right square when it comes to reparations.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yep. But with that being said, Arthur, I'm going to pray them out. I know you don't really want to care about that part.
I don't mind. Go ahead.
You don't mind?
No, I don't mind. Especially when I find out that you hand make your tacos and stuff. Go ahead. Say whatever you're going to say, Angela. I will sit here and listen to you.
You going to take it?
Yes, I'm going to take it.
All right, y'all. Y'all know what we do. I got to declare and decree, create a vacuum, and then pray us out. I just want you guys to understand that you've got the power. It doesn't really matter what is happening in this world. We are a blessed and highly favored community. And you guys know I'm highly spiritual. And so I know that God has got us. What I need for you guys to know is that God's got you too. You are God's chosen people. You are God's favorite people. And you're his image likeness. The only way for me to see him is to look upon you. So know that I come to you and I'm highly spirited, but I've got a reparationist perspective to share. But I also understand my covering, and I understand and understand yours. So you go out in the world and you know through and through that the weapons may form, but they will never prosper, not against the Negro. And know that doors that have closed is that rejection is God's direction and protection. And the ones that are open will open for you. You have to stay diligent. You must persist through what appears to be a challenging time for the Negro. Don't allow it to defeat you. You cannot afford to give in, up, or out. We've got our children and our young people behind us that are relying on us to be victorious. So this is a place for you to come and get your lessons and things that I make sure I'm fully informed about so I can impart the truth to you. But I'm not over here believing in no woe is me. I'm not over here to trauma bond. Know that. I'm here for solutions, as you should be. So please continue, if you'd like, to be a part of the ACS survey, where we're acquiring 2 million signatures on the ACS survey, and you want to contribute to the band and the American Negro, Gmail me at thereperspect@gmail.com, and I will forward that information to Unity for Our Community. So when those surveys come out, you'll be included in that count. So This is the declare and decree portion of the broadcast. This is, I declare and decree that the highest form of righteous judgment is served over all corrupt beings of the government, judicial system, including the police officers, child protective services, judges, attorneys, FBI agents, the CIA, and all personnel working for the U.S. corporation with wicked intentions. All hidden corruption and agendas are now destroyed forevermore, in spirit and in flesh, in sleep and in awakened states across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. So as you write that out, you want to burn that and release, okay? As you watch it go up in flames, give thanks to the Most High God for granting you the power and the authority to bring down this judgment, and then call on your entire spiritual team, the ancestors, to come in and assist you with establishing those things in the spirit and the flesh that you do want to materialize. Then after you've done the burning and releasing, you'll write this down on a candle with a permanent marker. You want to write down all corruption of the U.S. corporation and the police force is now exposed, and justice for all wicked deeds and hidden acts, known and unknown, is now exposed and being punished and established in spirit and in flesh, in sleep and in awakened states, across all timelines, realms, and dimensions, known and unknown. Okay? You want to fill the vacuum you've now created. You want to burn that candle until it's true in your experience. And then you need to fill the vacuum that's been created with affirming the things that you want to experience. Okay? In addition to the aforementioned righteous judgment, you can journal that. All right? So yes, with that being said, family, this concludes our broadcast. I want to pray the prayer of protection over you, that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever the Negro descendant and its allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. And with that being said, thank you again, Arthur Ward, for being here. I'm going to close us out with the outro, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Well, let me let you know, it'll be advertised and I'll promote it. It'll be either Saturday or Sunday, depending on what my weekend is like. Until we meet again next week, family, I'm believing for each and every one of us a ton of peace, love, and reparations. Love you guys. Have a blessed week. Stay up. Peace. I'm going to drop you down.